We are live and ready to go. Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome once again to the YouTube channel. You're here with James and Darth Vader.
Hello.
We're not going to waste your time. We're going to get right into the heart of this thing. So, guys, how are you doing? How's been your week? What's happening in your world? And just comment below. Let us know what's going on and where you're joining us from. Are you new to the YouTube channel? By the way, every other Wednesday now, we used to do every Wednesday, but every other Wednesday now, we do go live around this time. So put that in your schedule. And thank you for joining us once again. We have 23 people watching. So do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. We got to talk about a number of things today. So we have Awaken with JP on the channel. We love JP. JP has a way of kind of sharing the truth in a way that with a lot of sarcasm.
And humor.
Yeah. She's perfect. All right. Let's take a listen to this video. And we'll be talking at the same time. We share some thoughts at the end, okay?
Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights, Homo sapiens have no rights also.
People have no rights? Yeah, I'm on board with that. Would you mind burning this copy of the Bill of Rights? I don't think it ever existed. Good evening and welcome to We Lie to You News. The GOP race is heating up to the temperature of assassination to set the stage for the upcoming 2024 election, aka the next phase of the Civil War. We'll have a mostly censored report on what's going on there, along with breaking news from the World Economic Forum on what they're going to take away from you next, which is only all of your human rights. A 50-year-old man is now competing in swimming as a 13-year-old girl, and we'll also give you the rundown on a man competing as Michelle Obama in the 2024 election. Figures out. We'll have all of that and potentially less in tonight's broadcast.
Who do you think? Who do you think the man is? Is he talking about? Oh, what a jab! What a jab!
Oh man, that was so good.
At first, in my ignorant mind, I thought of Barack Obama, and then I paused and I'm like, no, not Barack Obama.
No.
Do you really believe these allegations to be true? Do you really believe that? Do you think it's just another conspiracy? You know.
Well, I mean, you look at the body structure and some of the photos that have been taken. It seems like there's a little something down there that shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
when they wear a tight dress. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, I hope this wasn't photoshopped. When I first saw that one picture, I was like, "That's kind of looks strange," you know. People do a lot of stuff online with pictures, so I'm like, I hope somebody didn't just, put something.
No, there was genuine, because it was actually from a news source that actually reported on the whole situation with her giving a speech and everything, and that was her walking off stage from giving a speech. I use the term "her" very loosely, because and then somebody walked through. I watched another video where they walk through the different bodily proportions of men versus women.
Yeah,
the shoulders are way too broad, dude.
Wow,
way too broad, and the jawline doesn't match up. It doesn't fit. There's something funky going on. There's just some things you just can't hide.
Yeah. I really hope and pray that's not what it is, but it wouldn't shock me anyway, because what was the name of the guy who came out, Sinclair, and said that he had a whole lot of fun with Mr. Obama and stuff, and there was a lot of party going on and things that we can't even mention here. We are Christians, but
I mean, even Obama himself said that he wouldn't be opposed to being with the guy.
Oh, yeah. That says a lot. All right, let's get back.
Starting us out, we'll have all of that and potentially less in tonight's broadcast, starting with assassination threats. Alex Soros, acclaimed for nothing and only known for being the son of communist mega donor George Soros, recently made some waves with a felony offense that he'll definitely be getting away with. Alex Soros recently released this tweet, claiming that the crime and inflation problems that have been plaguing the nation have now been remedied. Based on the review of our definitely independent...
Yo, have you heard this guy talk? Have you heard Alex Soros talk? Have you ever heard him speak? I will do you a favor by sharing with you his speech pattern. I had a hard time, and I know I'm not the smartest kid around. I could not understand a single thing he was trying to talk about. Anyway, I had a video of him just talking. There we go. So you trying to digest some of that. Let me see how much of it could you understand.
But you know, I don't think that that's the fundamental. I don't think the technology is the fundamental issue in democracy. Democracy is messy. I mean, you know, democracy is about contestation of ideas. It's about plurality. It's about people having different truths. Actually, now, fundamentally, how society lives together civically in those contestations is obviously quite tricky. But I think that if we play too much on this disinformation card, we're taking responsibility away from ourselves to actually create a narrative that inspires people to vote and to believe in democracy and democratic institutions. On the institutional part, I think that we can talk about institutions as these abstract things, but institutions are also about people. And we just heard this point about untrustworthy people, and we talked about things in the United States like checks and balances, which aren't written anywhere but are customs. And one man, Donald Trump, literally came in and just took that all away.
Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I don't understand what he's saying.
I had no idea. The only part that I picked up is that he's speaking against democracy, and he is saying check and balances is not something that is consequential today, and Donald Trump will come and take stuff away. Almost like he's speaking in favor of whatever he believes in. But Donald Trump, obviously, they're afraid of Trump because of what Trump can do and will do. Right. I think that's the only thing I picked up from the message. But I'm like, what's up with all this? I was like, listen, I'm not the smartest guy around, but I think I sound a little bit better than this. I know,
right?
I'm just not trying. This is like one of the richest men you're looking at. I'm like saying, well, these people. I mean, he got the wealth of his father and so on. And these guys are going to be making decisions on our behalf against our will, of course. And we're supposed to can't even put some coherent sentences together. I'm like, that's not a good look.
I'm sorry. Dude sounded like he was having a stroke to me.
It's so sad. So sad. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you.
It has now been remedied. Based on the review of our definitely independent fact checkers, those claims are completely unfactual and therefore have been fact-checked as true. But the assassination-y threat comes in the pic he posted with his tweet, which is a photo of a bullet hole next to $47. Trump looking like the likely 47th president, even though in an effort to protect democracy, we're not going to let that happen, appears to be a threat to Trump's life. But after our trusted three-letter agencies assessed Soros's post, the same three-letter agencies that are likely responsible for the assassinations of a previous president, they surprisingly determined that there's no cause for them to take action. You're probably familiar with the saying that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And with George Soros and his son Alex, it's also apparent that the doesn't fall far from the anus. In other news, in the 13 to 15-year-old girls swimming division, there is a new 15-year-old girl making waves. Take a look.
The infamous 50-year-old man who identifies as a 13-year-old girl. That allows Nicholas to swim with the teenage girls. Oh, and by the way, change and shower with them as well.
That all checks out and is in.
You see, there is no there is no stopping this. This is so bad because what this shows is there is no end in point for this thing. It keeps. It's just where do you draw the line?
There,
Where do you draw
like
the line?
anytime a dude wants to join women's sports, that's where you draw the line. Anytime, you know what, you want to go live your life, that's fine.
Yeah.
Stop trying to force yourself into spaces that are for women and women only. That's not appropriate.
Yeah.
You
That's
know what?
delusional.
You want a bathroom, you want a changing room, fine. You go get your own bathroom, you get your own changing room. We'll make a third bathroom for you. You know, you all can have your own fun in there. Do whatever needs to be done. But we're not going to sit here and we need to stop pandering to this. Oh my word.
We do need to. It has gone completely crazy. It has gone from just don't persecute me for being what I am and who I am to the point now I'm infiltrating. I'm sitting next to your daughter. I am gonna use the same bathroom and locker room as your daughter's. That is not good.
If I was one of the dads on that swim team, no.
Somebody say in a comment.
Pardon me. I'm a Christian man, but I'm just saying, hell no.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, we better protect that family. We will not play this game. This screams predator, somebody says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Just saying, this is crazy nonsense.
Nicholas to swim with the teenage girls. Oh, and by the way, change and shower with them as well.
That all checks out and is inspiringly inclusive. And over the pond at this year's World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, what are the elites planning on taking away from you for your benefit? Answer: coffee. Take a look.
Basically, the coffee that we all drink emits between 15 and 20 tons of CO2 per ton of coffee. So we should all know that this is every time we drink coffee, we are basically putting CO2 into the atmosphere.
That gentleman.
Is this serious? I am so done. I am so done. See, this is what happens when rich men north of rich men got too much money. They don't know what to do with themselves. So they start taking away everything that belongs to the average man. This is what happens. And I think if there's a way we can defund these people by going and support other businesses, such as people who are on the right, Christian businesses, I think these are some of the ways we can push back against this. You know why they're doing this? It's because they are bored. They got so much money and they don't know what to do with themselves. And life is miserable when you are wealthy and you don't have a faith in Jesus. You act like this.
And they want control.
Of course. That's the reason why.
It's all about power and control.
Absolutely.
Over the masses.
You're not at peace with God. You got so much money. You have so much power and influence. And what do? I'm going to go for your coffee. So you wanted to go for our heating system at home. You wanted to go for our washer and dryer. You wanted to take away our stoves. Now nobody can eat cattle. Yeah, even our cattle. We can't eat meat, not even clean meat. Now, you're feeding us bugs. Now you want to take away. You want to take away coffee? Like, what did coffee do to you? It's like this goes to show you got some diabolical plans in your heart, my friend. That's what this shows.
Mm-hmm. Like, and that's really what it comes down to is like, that's all they want to do is just manipulate and control the masses. And we're nothing more than chattel to them.
That's crazy, man. And you can always see the kingdom of darkness behind the scene whenever people start acting like this. Somebody in the chat room said, Jane said, hell to the no.
Right.
Feel the same way. My wife and I, we like to use the word double hockey stick. H-E double hockey stick to the no. Anyway, have mercy.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, they're sitting there doing this stuff, and it's like, you know what? This is the part of their agenda of you will own nothing and be happy about it.
Yeah, it's true. It is a fascistic, a communistic kind of agenda. If you think about what they're pushing, it is, it is fascism. It is Marxism. You know, so they don't really think you have a right to own anything unless you're living on a subscription based. You have to come to them for just about everything, and everything you own belongs to somebody else. So you have no right to owning anything. You know, I hope I can still own my wife and children. But anyway, yeah, it's just crazy to me. This is the devil's kingdom, because whenever you are putting yourself in somebody else's freedom of conscience, you are infiltrating that area. You're automatically crossing a line that God never intended for any man to do. Yeah, that's the problem. This is how you know you're dealing with the devil's kingdom right there.
How's the verse go? Live in the world, but be not of it.
Yeah, correct. Anyway,
CO2 per ton of coffee. So we should all know that this is every time we drink coffee, we are basically putting CO2 into the atmosphere.
That gentleman who flew in his private jet from overseas to a private jet airport in Switzerland and then took a helicopter from that airport to Davos is morally rooted enough in his quest to reduce CO2 emissions that he was willing to take on the burden of telling the public that they can't have coffee anymore. And I am grateful for his service to humanity. Meanwhile, World Economic Forum figurehead Dr. Noah Yuval Harari had
hold on a second before we get on to him. They do realize that we do need CO2 in the atmosphere for, you know, like plants to grow, for foliage to grow. They're worried about deforestation and all this other stuff. Well, you know, without CO2 in the air, trees ain't going to grow by themselves. You can't grow trees without CO2. So there has to be CO2 in the air.
Yeah.
It's just a basic fact of nature.
Yeah. I guess in the process of trying to fix one problem, they're going to create a much greater problem.
And this is the problem you run into whenever man tries to step in and control Mother Nature and the cycle of the planet. They mess it up. They make things worse.
Not only that, they're atheists in their thinking. So they don't believe in God. They don't believe that there is sin. You know, we live in a sinful world and there is evil. They don't believe we are at war with the kingdom of darkness. So they think by just fixing nature, that's what the problem is. But there's a spiritual component to what's going on in the planet as well. So once you don't take away all the rights, all coffees, and you don't do all that, guess what's going to happen? There will still be disasters. There will still be there will still be earthquakes. These things will still come. So what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? Because once it's all said and done, supposedly your plan, let's just say you bring down emission to 0 point something as you've had in mind. And when it's all said and done and we still have these issues happening, what do? Do you go sit in a corner and lick your wound? Because you're not going to achieve anything, because what's happening in the world, in part, it is spiritual. Yeah, we can say men might have done things, doing things that I don't agree with, you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's all men's fault. And the idea is man is the problem. I think eventually, just like some people are saying, well, if man is the problem, let's get rid of men. This is where you get the deaf cult concept, you know. So anyway,
I mean, it's just so absurd that they're going to such lengths to do all this to lower CO2 and get all the carbon emissions down and blah 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 blah. It's like you're a bunch of morons. The Earth in its history has never been greener.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe early on in its history, it's probably been greener. Like back when Adam and Eve roamed the earth.
Of course.
But since then, it started to come back around and repair itself.
Yeah. If you stop messing with it, though, you know, stop.
But that's just it. You got to stop trying to control it and stop trying to play God. Yeah,
it's just crazy to me. But with all the changes that these guys have been doing since 1900s, have you noticed there's only been an increase in natural disasters and other things happening around the world? They haven't decreased any single thing. As a matter of fact, things have gotten worse. It's gotten worse. It has nothing to do with your situation and your plans. This is not to say you should not try to protect the earth. To me, they're going beyond protecting nature. They're going as far as taking away your rights to exist, to have free reign as a person. This is like, it goes to show that you guys are motivated by something demonic. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like they're deliberately trying to destroy the earth. I mean, for crying out loud, Klaus Schwab wanted to put up a giant solar panel to block out the rays of the sun in space. It's like, are you retarded? We need that. You're trying to cause a permanent winter for everyone on the planet. It's like that's not how this works. We kind of need that giant bright bulb beacon in the sky, you know?
Yeah, God had it set up there for a reason. You know, you can't do that.
You can't sit there and throw a cog in a finely tuned machine and expect it to still work.
Yeah, that's what they're about to do. Very, very dangerous.
Forum figurehead Dr. Noah Yuval Harari had this to say about human rights.
But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story that we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story. It may be a very attractive story. We want to believe it. But it's just a story. It's not a reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights, Homo sapiens have no rights also.
I can't believe this guy.
And that is the key. That is the key.
Right there. You just saw the heart of the beast. This is the breath of the dragon in your face. They're just telling you exactly what they're about. They don't think of you as a person with significance and value. He's spelling it out. He's something else. He hides. He doesn't cover anything. I like people like this. At least we know what you're about.
At least we know where they stand.
You're not deceiving anybody. This is an honest man. I respect men like this. He's telling you, hey, this is what I'm about to do. This is what I think. This is how we feel about you. And nobody's in the crowd threw their shoes at him. Like, nobody said, what did... like, nobody said nothing. But anyway, I think some people might be thinking, like, is he serious? Like, who is he talking about? Is he comparing us to animals and insects and stuff? Are you serious right now? Oh.
But see, that's the thing is they stuff the crowd with people who are like-minded. So, you know, that's the problem. So that, you know, he gets all the applause and like, oh, yes, you're so great. Yes, yes, yes. You know, so wonderful.
The wise men of the earth.
I was like, no, you're a moron, dude.
You're out of your mind.
Shut up and get off the stage.
You're crazy.
Woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights. Homo sapiens have no rights also.
You know, you don't really have to go to the trouble of taking...
I'm sorry. I am not on the same level as a woodpecker or an ostrich. Okay? A woodpecker and an ostrich have two goals in, well, maybe three goals in life. Eat, breed, and survive.
True.
I have higher aspirations than that.
Absolutely.
I can formulate coherent thoughts. I can formulate complex thoughts. I can do complex math calculations. I have a higher consciousness than these creatures.
And you have the right to choose. A lot of these creatures operate on instinct.
Exactly.
So these are things you got to think about. You can even have a relationship with God. Animals can't do that. So it goes to show how it goes back to the theory of evolution, because a lot of these guys are operating from that baseline. And this is why you are hearing the perspective that supposes, you know, Darwinism. This is actually the doctrine of Darwinism being, you know, in front of your face here. So if you don't believe God created the world, you will have a low expectation and a low perception of humanity. Because if God is the creator, his value and our worth come from him. So if you remove God out of the picture, this is what you get. So these are the type of men that will support the Holocaust. These type of men will support anything. Because from their perspective, humanity we are not treasured. We are not worth of anything.
We're nothing more than cattle.
Yeah, that's why they will advocate for the population and so on. Because they look at us, we are the problem. we're not the solution to anything from their perspective. We are the problem. They are the solution. They have everything figured out, but we are the problems in the society. And it goes to show that, again, it goes back to the fact that they don't have faith in God. They don't know what the scripture says, and they don't believe that God created the world, and this is what you get.
And unfortunately for them, I think they don't realize how hard it's going to be when it comes to America when they want to implement all this stuff. Yeah, that's all well and good. There's a reason they hold all these summits over in Europe. They don't come to America to hold these summits.
Nope.
Because there are too many Americans that don't fall for this crap.
Oh no, they will kick you out of the room. Like you come to the United States and say what you just said here, see what happens.
Yeah. Like we believe in our Constitution, we believe in our Bill of Rights that say all men endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights.
That's right.
For the pursuit of life, liberty, and
pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm.
Pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that ain't gonna fly here.
No,
They try to implement this. They try to implement this stuff here. They are going to find that they are not going to.
Nope, you are not welcome.
No, not welcome at all.
Yeah, let's let him finish.
Homo sapiens have no rights also.
You know, you don't really have to go to the trouble of taking away human rights if you claim humans have no rights in the first place. Harari and the World Economic Forum, who are probably therefore not so much a fan of the Nuremberg Code, oddly enough support this 50-year-old man's right to compete as a 15-year-old girl and be naked in the locker room with his fellow teammates who are minors. Well, they might be minors, but they're also humans, which means they have no right to be protected from a perpetrator who does have a right to perpetrate them. And in national news, President Trump has won Iowa and New Hampshire by record margins, which is making us an even bigger fan of Alex Soros's tweet. President Trump had this to say after his record victory in New Hampshire.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This is a fantastic state. This is a great, great state. You know, we won New Hampshire 3 times now, 3.
You know what? Yeah, just cut that. You know what? We've got to take that off air. In our definitely good conscience, we can't allow you to see that. We here at the station that you outsource your thinking to will continue to monitor what Trump says. And if there's anything relevant, we'll allow you to hear us say what he said, so you'll know exactly what he said. That's the best way to do it. It's a fact that Trump is a fascist, and it would be too dangerous for us to allow you to hear his lies. As your trusted news source, we know that there's great consequences to broadcasting untrue things, and we would never do that. We take our dedication to censoring lies and only broadcasting true information to you.
You know, I know he's making reference to Rachel Maddow on the MSNBC Hee Haw. She has done this more than once, and I thought to myself, like, if you don't stop doing stuff like this, you know what, I'm not gonna give any good suggestions, you know. So
this is why legacy media is dead.
Exactly, this is why nobody cares about the mainstream media network. They don't care, you know. And I don't mind them doing stuff like this because that gives us traction. You know, we get to have people come in and listen to what we have to say because we are genuine, we are honest, we are common people kind of thing. We're not paid by some elected bureaucrats. We're not supported or sponsored by anybody. No, we just go and talk to the people about what we think as human beings, and that's better than what you get from the mainstream media. So let her go on and keep doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, we keep it real around here. You know, we don't mince our words.
Nope.
You know, we just say it how we feel.
That's exactly right. But you know, the expectations they have of their audience too is very low, because it's like, if you think the individual can actually discern truth and error from the mouth of Trump, if you like, I have to block him from speaking because I don't want you guys to. What do you mean? Like, who do you have? A bunch of people who can't think for themselves? What do you have? Based on MPs who they can't reason from cause to effect. They can't do any research to find out what the rest of the story is.
Right.
Like, that is such a poor expectation they have of their audience. You know, their audience should be really upset.
Yeah, it was like I was watching last night. I saw two videos, one from Forbes, and then I watched one from TYT about how Marjorie Taylor Greene was trying to censor Ilhan Omar and have her deported because she's a bad actor for Somalia.
She is.
And
I don't even know why the rights tolerate these behaviors. Because if she was on the right doing something like this, the left will just kick her out she'll be gone by now.
And the thing is the Young Turks were sticking up for her, and they said that Marjorie Taylor Greene misquoted her because that's not what the translators from CNN said what she said. And I'm like, really? You're joking me, right? Because the CNN translators said that's not what she said.
Yeah.
It's like they're just playing with each other in a circle.
The young Turks are a joke.
I know. And I was reading some of the comments, and it's like, are you guys serious? Like, this guy is such a joke. Like, this guy is the one that needs to be deported.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Cenk Uygur has no common sense. Zero.
It wasn't even Cenk Uygur, though. That's the funny part.
It wasn't him.
No, it wasn't.
Was it Anna?
No, it wasn't either of them.
Oh, wow.
It was a completely different person. Somebody I'd never seen on there before.
Wow.
And that's one thing I thought was freaking hilarious, is that they turned around and took the quote from CNN, who was notorious for errors in their reporting and having to print retractions and everything else.
Yeah, all the time.
Whereas Marjorie Taylor Greene had, the transcripts from the government. Hello.
That is crazy.
And professional translators. Thank you very much. And was trying to bash her and saying that she's a racist and, blah, 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 this and that and the other thing. And it's like, okay, once you started calling her names and this and that and the other thing, you're done. You've already lost the argument.
That's it. All right.
Take our dedication to censoring lies and only broadcasting true information to you very seriously. This just in. This is a 15-year-old girl. Back to Trump. While we can't show you what Trump said, we can show you what Biden said.
We'll teach Donald Trump a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the men in America unless you want to get the benefit.
While we can show you what he said, we still don't know what he said. And in other GOP news,
okay, hold on.
Prior to New Hampshire,
these people are paid and bought and paid, right?
Believe it or not, I think I actually know what he said in that one.
Talks about women's right?
No. Don't mess with the men and women of America unless you want to get the benefit.
Oh, so that you had to decode that. Okay, thank you.
So listen very closely, because I think that's what he said. Don't mess with the men and women of America unless you want to get the benefit.
Don't mess with the men in America unless you want to get the benefit.
Okay. No, thank you so much. Yeah, for interpreting Joe Biden's words for me. Because that's just
sadly, I don't know if it's scary or I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing that I'm actually starting to understand what he's saying.
But I think that whole crowd behind him and in front of him, they probably had no idea what he said.
Meta, I don't know. I don't know what that means.
They probably thought, like, I need to make some noise. This is a good time for us to scream. So let's just yell.
Yeah, like he's starting to ramble. We need to shut him up. Let's yell. Yay!
Poor guy. Oh, my Lord.
While we can show you what he said, we still don't know what he said. And in other GOP news, prior to New Hampshire, Ron DeSantis dropped out. Nikki Haley claimed she's brown and tried to leverage it. And an actual brown guy who never tried to leverage it also dropped out. And as we're inspired by a 50-year-old man playing the role of a 15-year-old girl, we're also inspired by a man who's playing the role of Michelle Obama, whose secret plan that everybody already knew about to replace Biden as the Democratic nominee has apparently been leaked out to the public. So some people didn't know about that. But stay tuned, as we may be celebrating the triumphant achievement of breaking down barriers as a man may become the first female president. That's it for today's news. Enjoy your coffee while you can. Stop enjoying your human rights because they never existed. And I'll be competing in the 7-year-old girls division of MMA. And the threat of the public electing a president that they want to elect has never been greater. It's time to start thinking about how words are violence, but assassinations are not. And if that does happen, before we do it, we just want you to know that it wasn't us. Good night.
JB thumbnails, boy. That was good. That was a lot to work with here, but I'll tell you what, I have nothing else to add because it's just too much. Oh my Lord. Where do we go from here is the question. I have nothing else to add, to be honest with you.
Nah. that was just
yeah.
Just remember, this is a 15-year-old girl. Like, dude,
the nonsense is wild over here. This video is gone viral. I wanted to get your thought on it as well. Have you seen anything like this? This is a teacher who is teaching another student how to think correctly. You'll see what I mean when it goes. All right, let's take a listen to this.
So these guys want to talk about J.K. Rowling? Is that so? What's going on with that? What do you want to know?
She's had a pretty controversial past. I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, do you still like her work despite her bigoted opinions?
So let's get specific, though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first, let's start with, does she have bigoted opinions? So when you say bigoted opinions,
she has had a history of being extremely transphobic. I've heard.
Hey, you've heard. So what? Can you give me an example?
If you look at her Twitter, I think you could see a few things. If you want, I could try and find
see
something.
See if you can find one.
So, one of these tweets that she came out with in 2019, she said, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real."
So you find that bigoted? What do you find about
it? Was deemed transphobic. I myself.
Do you find that transphobic yourself?
I don't really have an opinion on it, but I'm just going with what a lot of other people have said.
So let's pause it. Let's not go with what other people are saying. Let's try and learn how to critically think. So let's analyze the tweet ourselves. So that statement, do you see anything problematic disregarding other people's opinions?
She did try and pin some things on a specific group of people.
Where does she do that? Can you read that?
But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real.
So when I hear that, I'm interpreting that as meaning if a woman says that, saying that there's a difference between men and female and then being attacked as transphobic, I think that's what she's saying by attacking someone for stating that sex is real.
That is exactly what she's saying.
Is that transphobic to you?
So, to me, no. Stating that sex is real is not transphobic. It's just a fact of life. It exists.
So is there anything you disagree with in that tweet?
In that tweet, I can't really see anything that I myself disagree with, but I can see why some people would think, oh, this is offensive. We can't have that here or something. Because there's an apology tweet.
Let's read that. What did she say there? I haven't read that.
I respect every trans person's right to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it is hateful to say so.
You see anything problematic there?
She's apologizing, so no, not really. If I could read it again.
It sounds like a very similar statement as what she was just saying. She's basically saying, like, I have nothing, to me, this is what I interpret it as, I have nothing against someone being trans.
Exactly.
It's your life, but you just don't get to impose on my, you can live how you want, I can live how I want.
Yeah.
And let's all,
Exactly.
So I guess now that we're looking at it like, oh, there's not much difference between me or her, do you think it's fair that that she's being attacked by a large group of people and people are calling her, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter? Now, retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
It's okay though, but this is why we do this, to learn how to think.
Wow.
That's a masterclass.
Dude just debunked his own argument, and that was beautifully done.
Well done, right?
Yeah.
This is a matter of learning how to think and examine another person's perspective without inserting your emotion into the thing, which is oftentimes what the left does. They don't take into consideration what is being said. They just don't like the way it is said, or they have an issue with knowing that somebody has a view that is different from theirs, which is very normal and common in society. We live in a world with people with different perspective. Like J.K. Rowling is in no way, going after trans people, but it's crazy how these students are really in a bad place, though, that they came to a point where they can't even think for themselves.
Yeah.
It was to show our colleges are failing.
Yeah. Like it just goes to show you how much of a mass mob mentality that people have fallen into.
Yeah.
That if they're not going with the masses and going with the mob, then they don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
And they've lost the ability to critically think for themselves independently of the mob.
Yeah. Veda's daughter is here. Hey, Megan, what's going on? Yeah, this is I think when you said this, one of the texts that came to my mind, there is a text in Exodus where Moses is speaking to the people. He says, you should not follow the multitude to do evil, right? And the idea is that oftentimes the majority is wrong, but if you begin to think for yourself, ask a few questions, you'll realize that's not really the case. Thou shalt not follow the multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. And the thing is, what we have today is this mob mentality, like you said. We have this children that are going to school. These kids are going to school, and they have no idea what to think, how to think. They only being told what to think. And you can hear the conversation when you go out in the streets. You see, it's such a common thing for them to just argue, but it's so emotional though. It's not even common sense anymore. It's more emotional than it is intellectual.
Yeah.
Because
see, the only problem though is Meta. It only works on a one-to-one basis or in small groups. You try doing it on X where you get a large group of people together, and your voice just gets drowned out.
True.
So it works in more of a more intimate setting where you have either like a small group of 5 to 10 or, one-on-one than it does where you have hundreds and maybe even thousands of people commenting on this post or that post or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. By the way, YouTube does rehold certain comments. For example, I had it set up under my YouTube channel and people were getting upset at me. They were thinking that I'm deleting comments. I don't have time to do that. Let's just let you know. YouTube does rehold certain comments if you're putting links and the F-bombs and stuff like that. he will withhold it, and I have to review and release the comment. That happens automatically. So it's not like we're going around deleting comments. So you guys know that's not what we do. I don't have time to do that, to be honest with you.
And I'm trying to keep track and keep watch. So
yeah, we don't do that. So Darth Vader moderates your channel as well. So there's a way to find out comments that were said and or not coming up is because YouTube will just rehold it on its own. And sometimes it's like there's nothing wrong with the comments. There's no F-bomb, there's no links, none of that. But it still rehold it. I'm like, that's just crazy. Why are you reholding these people's comments? So
no, we're not saying you did, Meta. It's just we're just talking about how YouTube does things.
Yeah, YouTube does these weird things. Yeah. So just so you guys know, this is not something we are doing. So I'm gonna remove let all comments go. Part of the reason with not allowing YouTube to rehold some comments, sometimes people comes on the channel and they start trolling. We were having issues with that, and not only that, we were having a lot of pornography. People were coming in, putting links to different porn websites and so on. That's part of the reason why I said YouTube, rehold certain comments that has links or anything like that, any bots and stuff like that. He will just do it automatically. But in the process of doing that, he's also withholding decent comments. People are not saying anything. So it seems as though I'm the one stopping it. So I'm letting you know, I'm not the one doing that. It's just YouTube. I just have to go on to, release the comments so that it can come back on the main platform. So, that's kind of what happens. All right. Well,
yeah, I know, Meta. I know you are.
Well, we heard the discussion, right, about Tucker Carlson. I know you guys been waiting for this one. Tucker is being lambasted because he has decided that he is gonna go to Russia and to interview Vladimir Putin. First of all, let's watch this video. Let's watch this video to see where this is going.
Say broke into my Signal account, which I didn't know they could do.
How do you know?
NSA broke into my Signal account, which I didn't know they could do.
How do you know the NSA broke into your Signal?
Because they admitted it. I got a call from somebody in Washington. This person said, you're going to come to Washington anytime soon. Yeah, actually, I'm going to be up in a week. Meet me Sunday morning. So I go, and this person's like, are you planning a trip to go see Putin? And I was like, how would you know that? I haven't told anybody. I mean, anybody. Not my brother, not my wife, nobody. How would you know that? Because NSA pulled your text with this other person you were texting. How did you know that? NSA broke into my Signal account.
That's some scary stuff, though, when you think about it.
Well, you gotta thank the Patriot Act for that one.
Yeah. In the name of keeping us safe, you done lost your privacy. So here is a video of Tucker in Russia right now, and we have a few videos to get into, and I want to get your thought and perspective too.
My name is Alexei. I like you. You're the best American journalist.
Thank you.
What? I'm from Moscow.
Я люблю этот город. Он красивый.
Thank you. It's really yes. What do you do in Russia?
Хотел на нее посмотреть. Я так много читал о ней. Я хотел поговорить с людьми и посмотреть на то, как все устроено.
So I wanted to talk to people and look around and see how it was doing. And it's doing very well.
I think maybe interview Putin. Why your visit in Moscow? American media.
I don't know.
Я не знаю. Они сумасшедшие. Реально сумасшедшие.
Yeah, crazy.
It's crazy. Really crazy.
So, Darth Vader, share your thought with me. Do you think this is the right move for Tucker? Do you agree and disagree with it?
I think it's risky for him. And he's going out on a limb here, especially being independent now without the backing of,
Got you.
someone. But I mean,
yeah,
if he could get that interview, I mean, it would be great.
Yeah. But I want you to notice how the mainstream media is already reacting. Tucker does speak back, by the way. and I did go to Ladder and Crowder, so I have something to share with them. They've actually shown that it's actually a very common practice for journalists to speak to dictators and so on, just to get their perspective on things. It's not like a bad thing. It's just it goes to show the legacy media is trying to control every single thing. But Tucker is not owned by them. They've already released the monster. The beast is wild right now because
and they don't like it.
They don't like what they've done, but hey, it is what it is. You guys created a Tucker Carlson because you hate the truth so much. Anyway, you got this.
Set. A massive shakeup in Kyiv coming as Putin is trying to court the MAGA GOP in the United States. In fact, one of the leaders of the MAGA GOP is in Moscow tonight. It's the man you see here with the MAGA leader, Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson. Possibly there in Moscow to interview Putin. Definitely there as a Putin supporting celebrity. Just listen to how Russian state media is breathlessly celebrating his visit.
Independent journalist Tucker Carlson has flown to Russia from the U.S. via Turkey to Vnukovo Airport. He saw Spartacus Ballet at the Bolshoi Theater, had lunch in a nice restaurant, went for a ride around town, rode the subway. He charged his smartphone via a USB port and connected to a fast and free Wi-Fi internet.
He charged his phone, although they're knowing the details about the fact that it was during USB port may give him reason to think twice about all of this. But look at them talking about him like a celebrity. Everything he does on camera, breathlessly repeated. Now, it is unclear if an interview between Putin and Carlson will take place, but if it does, it gives Putin a chance to sit down with a big supporter.
It might be worth asking yourself, since it is getting pretty serious, what is this really about? Why do I hate Putin so much? Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Does he eat dogs? These are fair questions, and the answer to all of them is no. Vladimir Putin didn't do any of that.
I'll actually always remember watching that clip. I was standing in Ukraine 48 hours before the war began there. Well, Carlson then stood by Putin consistently all the way through. And that is why he can go to Moscow now without any fear of being summarily imprisoned. He's a hero. This was Putin's mouthpiece in the United States, somebody who had turned a blind eye to the atrocities committed by Putin because they were happening far away. Once vibrant towns turned to ruins, mass graves with dozens of bodies in the Kyiv suburbs, a theater full of innocent women and children sheltering, bombed, despite the giant world's children written on the roof, more than 200,000 Ukrainian soldiers killed or injured. And tonight, Putin is trying to seize on the fact that Zelensky's military appears to be in turmoil, capitalizing on a moment of intense American political dysfunction and intensifying.
This is the problem with the legacy media, man. They insert their emotions in everything instead of considering the facts for what they are. It's pathetic because that's not what he said at all. And this constant calling Tucker mega GOP is kind of like not necessarily the case because he's not even, he does support Donald Trump now, but before he wasn't even a Trumper at all. But look how much shade and garbage is said about the man without considering the fact that it's a very common thing for journalists to actually do this.
I've seen plenty of his episodes where he's taken shots at Trump.
Yeah, he has done that in the past. But anyway, he does have an answer, by the way. But let me go to my boys here because they went crazy with it. Anyway, let's play this.
Yeah, they went ham on it. I remember this.
Yeah, I had to watch it because it was that good of a substance.
I think most of them are fine, by the way, but he doesn't come across to me as a shill for anybody. Like he's just going to be like, oh, Vladimir Putin, everything's great in Russia. Right. It's fantastic. It seems like he's going to go over there and ask some maybe difficult questions, but it's probably not going to push too much. He's in Russia. He doesn't want to end up in prison for a vape pen.
You kind of lose your leverage when you're in the country of an
actual true. You need to let them come to a neutral country.
Yeah. Yes. That's like the Swiss publication.
Yeah.
So let's go through this again, the applying the double standard, because interviews with actual dictators, not that Putin is a dictator, right? And I understand he has proxies and and then he kind of steps back, and we had someone who was another president for a period of time, and that was cute. So actual dictators where you're talking about completely unfettered and people who are actually enemies to the United States. This has happened a lot, and all references are available at lighthousecreditor.com. So the Ayatollah Khomeini was interviewed in 1979 by Mike Wallace. Hey, remember Castro?
Yeah, that guy.
Remember Fidel Castro? I remember socialist, communist, revolutionary, followed in the footsteps of Che Guevara, who killed black people and gays and executed them without trial.
And destroyed a beautiful island 90 miles south of Florida.
And bragged about it in front of the UN so that you could put it on a Rage Against the Machine t-shirt while the lead singer supports Barack Obama.
They are the machine.
It's insane.
So Castro was interviewed in 1959, CBS Face the Nation. 1977, Barbara Walters on ABC. 1993 by Diane Sawyer. You know who else was interviewed? By John Miller of ABC in 1998. Talk about platforming. Osama bin Laden. That one's kind of a biggie. I know what you'll say. Hey, hold on a second. We weren't officially at war with Osama bin Laden in 1998. Well, we're not at war with Russia either. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
Bro.
I'd like all involvement to be gone, but yeah, we're not involved.
Wasn't he on the most wanted list, I think?
I believe he was on the most wanted list because at that point...
Either that or he's climbing the charts. One of the two. He's either there or he's number one.
Most wanted for interviews? Who's taking calls?
Someone got a nice scoop. Muammar Gaddafi or Brown Jeffrey Ross, if you see a picture.
Yes.
Can you guys bring up side by side Gaddafi, Jeffrey Ross?
Oh my! You mean when he traveled here to New York, he stayed in a tent?
Right.
Rented a house to stay in a tent.
And by the way, that was in 2009 by Larry King.
Yeah.
Why did no one ever come down on Larry King? This not only did he interview Gaddafi, he was ill prepared. He's like, so Gaddafi, French.
Why do you look white?
Yes. You look like a friend I had, Jeffrey Ross.
Those
Heard of him?
Natural curls? He's the Roastmaster General.
Roastmaster. Gets a little bit edgy, but I find him funny.
He's a Jew like me.
What do you eat for breakfast? What? So,
sorry.
Then you have Bashar al-Assad. Let's just say al-Assad. And no one's on a first name basis. Bill Neely in 2016, NBC.
Oh.
Just to be clear. And then there was this gem of an interview also with al-Assad. I guess if you're going to comment below, who's the most useless journalist who you can think of in the last 20 years or 30 years? Would it be Barbara Walters?
Yeah.
Would it be the lady who turned journalism into inconsequential bullshit with if you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Barbara Walters, who can't even speak the language without a speech impediment? Or would it be wheel him out because he doesn't even know where he is and he should have retired a long time ago, but he's clinging to his power, Larry King? Yeah. I don't know which one, but this was the standard of journalism. I'm sorry. These were the carryovers from the golden era. And I've been asking this, if there was a golden age of journalism, please tell me when. I don't buy it. I just think you didn't know about it. Here's the gem with Barbara Walters and al-Assad in 2012, I believe.
We were free to ask any questions. Bashar al-Assad is a dictator by accident. A mild-mannered ophthalmologist. He studied medicine in England and found himself thrust into the role of being Syria's leader after the deaths of his dictator father and older brother. He insisted to me that he has the support of much of his country, but not many others believe that.
Well, let me, Barbara, can I do you a favor, sweetheart? Let me correct something real quick. I know that's patronizing. I meant to be. He's not a dictator by accident. He's the leader of the country by accident. The dictator part was a choice.
Yeah.
He could have gone in and been the leader of the country by accident. People got killed before him. Now he's thrust into a position of power. He could have chosen to not be a dictator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this goes to show what we were talking about. This is a common thing for journalists to actually do that.
Not to mention the fact that what happened to his older brother and father that led him into that position.
Yeah, even though it's still a choice, but there were some stuff behind the scene too.
Just asking the question.
That's all.
That's all.
Tucker is responding to the legacy media. This video came out last night, and I was like, oh, spot on. He is speaking out. So the interview is going to happen. He did say he's going to have it. Putin is willing to be interviewed by him. But look how he puts it together. I was like, oh, this is spot on. I love this.
We're in Moscow tonight. We're here to interview the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. We'll be doing that soon. There are risks to conducting an interview like this, obviously. So we thought about it carefully over many months. Here's why we're doing it. First, because it's our job. We're in journalism. Our duty is to inform people. 2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, Most Americans are not informed. They have no real idea what's happening in this region, here in Russia or 600 miles away in Ukraine. But they should know. They're paying for much of it in ways they might not fully yet perceive. The war in Ukraine is a human disaster. It's left hundreds of thousands of people dead, an entire generation of young Ukrainians, and it's depopulated the largest country in Europe. But the long-term effects are even more profound. This war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances, and the sanctions that followed have as well. And in total, they have upended the world economy. The post-World War II economic order, the system that guaranteed prosperity in the West for more than 80 years, is coming apart very fast, and along with it, the dominance of the US dollar. These are not small changes. They are history-altering developments. They will define the lives of our grandchildren. Most of the world understands this perfectly well. They can see it. Ask anyone in Asia or the Middle East what the future looks like. And yet the populations of the English-speaking countries seem mostly unaware. They think that as nothing has really changed. And they think that because no one has told them the truth. Their media outlets are corrupt. They lie to their readers and viewers. And they do that mostly by omission. For example, since the day the war in Ukraine began, American media outlets have spoken to scores of people from Ukraine, and they have done scores of interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We ourselves have put in a request for an interview with Zelensky, and we hope he accepts. But the interviews he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions specifically designed to amplify Zelensky's demand that the U.S. enter more deeply into a war in Eastern Europe and pay for it. That is not journalism. It is government propaganda. Propaganda of the ugliest kind, the kind that kills people. At the same time, our politicians and media outlets have been doing this, promoting a foreign leader like he's a new consumer brand. Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in this conflict, Vladimir Putin. Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. They've never heard his voice. That's wrong. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in, and we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe. That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House. But they're trying anyway. Almost 3 years ago, the Biden administration illegally spied on our text messages and then leaked the contents to their servants in the news media. They did this in order to stop a Putin interview that we were planning. Last month, we're pretty certain they did exactly the same thing once again, but this time we came to Moscow anyway. We are not here because we love Vladimir Putin. We are here because we love the United States, and we want it to remain prosperous and free. We paid for this trip ourselves. We took no money from any government or group, nor are we charging people to see the interview. It is not behind a paywall. Anyone can watch the entire thing, shot live to tape and unedited, on our website, tuckercarlson.com. Elon Musk, to his great credit, has promised not to suppress or block this interview once we post it on his platform, X, and we're grateful for that. Western governments, by contrast, will certainly do their best to censor this video on other less principled platforms because that's what they do. They are afraid of information they can't control. But you have no reason to be afraid of it. We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview, but we are urging you to watch it. You should know as much as you can. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself. Thanks.
Makes sense to me. Makes a whole lot of sense to me.
I mean, that's powerful. I mean, he's doing what most interviewers and most journalists these days wouldn't dare possibly do.
Yeah.
You know, he's actually risking his neck right now.
Yeah. When he compared Zelensky to Putin, it shows that if the West is interviewing Zelensky and overlooking and not interviewing Putin, it goes to show there is an imbalance here. There is
bias.
Yeah, there's a lot of biasness, and I'm picking and choosing who I like and dislike. And that's not what journalists should do. They should hear both perspectives and combine the two different perspectives, because a lot of what we are being told about Zelensky and Ukraine, that's not always was not true. There's a lot of stuff they said that I'm not realizing. Oh wow, we've been lied to. So I think if we had heard what Putin is thinking from the very beginning, I think some of this stuff would not even have happened. At least some of these lies would not have been lost. I think there could have been a change right away. So the misinformation coming from the media is deadly. And they like to say we are the one promoting misinformation. It's like you're withholding information from people and they are making decisions that have dire consequences. So I think Tucker Carlson is doing the right thing.
I mean, just personally, I just don't think we should be involved in proxy wars, period.
No, I don't think so.
That's just me. And that's part of the issue I take with the whole border bill that they put up. It's something Steven Crowder covered in one of his last
same one
things, is how he actually broke down what's in the border bill.
Nothing to protect the border, to be honest.
Actually, out of the $180 billion that they're asking for the border bill, 20 billion goes to the border. That's it.
Yeah.
The majority of it is funding for the Ukraine.
That's crazy. Yeah. Mayorkas still has so much power in that bill. Actually, he has more power now to determine whether or not so-and-so can come when it's time to close the border, when these numbers are like, who will ever know when these numbers are at the point they need to be? So it really works in favor of the Democrats. I hope the Republicans have enough common sense to say, we are not going to give up on this one. Push back against it. Do like what Texas is doing. Just stand against it because it's not in favor of the American people at all. If anything, it's going to help the illegals to get more than what they're getting now. So,
and there's plenty of other ways we can go about, doing this. I mean, 5,000 people a day, that's a lot of freaking people.
That's a lot. When you add that in a year, you're looking at a couple mil. Oh my Lord. Easy.
Or at least close to it.
Yeah. Wow. That is ridiculous. Yeah. At least six to something, 700,000 people easily.
I think it's like, let me do some math here real quick.
Yeah. While you're doing that, let me share with you guys. It's important that we know what we know. We believe what we believe and we are informed. I think it's very significant. And what Tucker Carlson is doing here is good. The scripture says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. If you were to take that, which is spiritual, and apply it here, a lot of time we are making decisions, we're allowing policies to go on, and these people that are in office are kind of like drawing bills together and making decisions on our behalf, and we're paying the taxes for it. I have so much less money in my pocket because of this. Because you have rejected knowledge, the Bible says, and I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So from a spiritual perspective, it's very dangerous to reject knowledge. Very dangerous. And I think even if you were to look at this from a political perspective too, and I think by them withholding the truth from us, to not telling us the other side of the story, we actually get destroyed. We actually get manipulated. We get used and abused by the system, and it's not a safe thing at all. So this is why I really respect what Tucker Carlson is doing here. He's putting himself on the line. He's putting his life on the line, go in this direction and do that. But I think that interview is going to blow the internet wide open. I can see the Western media is going to have a serious meltdown because I think there's a lot of stuff they've been pushing that's going to be exposed by the interview. For real, what's been in the minds of Vladimir Putin this whole time? Yeah.
And he's not going to hold back on his questions either.
No, he doesn't.
He's actually going to ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
And just for perspective, 5,000 a day times 365 days a year is 1.825 million people a year.
That is crazy. Woo! A day. Oh, snap. I was thinking. Why would you?
5,000 a day.
That is wild. That is extremely wild. No, why would any Republicans vote for something like this? Unless you benefit from it, the rhinos. But
And that's just it. The Republicans aren't going for it, and that's
Good.
why the Democrats are saying, "Oh well, the Republicans are holding it up. They're holding it up." Blah 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 blah. Well, no kidding. They're holding it up. They're holding it up for good reason. It's a bad bill.
It's a bad deal, and they like to say this is the best bullet policy that we have. No, it's not. It's the worst. And you're making it look like we are the bad ones. No, you've been allowing the borders to be flooded with people who have not come through the country legally. You've been allowing that to happen, and this is why we had an issue in New York with cops getting beaten down by these people. It's not only that, by the way. There's a whole lot more happening. They are using mopeds and they are robbing people and pulling people's purses and stuff. When you bring young people like this, young men, military-age men, you put them in this country, you don't provide, even though you're providing for their means, but they're not working. When a person is not working, at least some of them are working for cheap, it goes to show that this whole asylum claim was a lie. And the other thing is, you're putting at risk the life of American people, because these people, when they are desperate, they're going to make bad decisions. How many of them were already gangsters and gang members? How many of them were already acting up in their country? And you brought them here without considering all of these factors. So what do you think is going to happen to your country?
Believe it or not, my daughter's husband came up with a stat the other day. He was looking up, like, the types of people coming across the border and stuff, and he found a stat the other day that showed the number of people coming over the border are military-age men, mostly from China.
Wow.
What does that tell you?
We are being invaded. That's going to have
slowly but surely. That's going to have serious repercussions.
Oh yeah, it won't be long. It won't be long. This is why I stand with Tucker. I think Tucker is a gift from God.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So you sent me Fannie Willis.
Oh yes.
Yeah, boy. So I did hear a little bit of the allegation, but I'm not sure where this video is gonna go. So let's take a listen.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing these anti-Trump witch hunts, one step at a time. So let's talk about things from a macro level. We are to believe that Donald Trump is a criminal. Donald Trump's a real thug with a history of committing crimes. I mean, he's John Gotti, Al Capone, El Chapo Guzman, and Pablo Escobar combined. I mean, he's a real bad dude.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
We're supposed to believe that, and all the people pursuing him, who clearly don't have any political ambitions or motivation at all, they're the good guys. Well, folks, that narrative is getting harder and harder to believe with every little drip of information here. Although in the case of Fannie Willis, it may be less of a drip of information and more a freaking flood. Friends, the floodgates are opening. If you thought one Fannie Willis scandal wasn't enough, if you thought two Fannie Willis scandals wasn't enough, we got another one. It seems as though ethics violations, embezzlement of taxpayer funds, and fostering a toxic, corrupt workplace is simply just business as usual under Fannie Willis's leadership as the district attorney in Fulton County. We've got a secret recording of Fannie Willis that may have just ended her case against Trump, although I don't think it's fair to call it a case. I think probably a better description of this case that she's pursuing is a re-election campaign initiative. Well, it's not looking so good. If Fulton County wasn't one of the most corrupt counties in the nation, Fannie Willis would have resigned by now. It's taking a little bit more time than usual, but I think it's on its way. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so you guys got to take a look at this from the Washington Free Beacon. This is a bombshell exclusive report. Fannie Willis axed employee who blew whistle on misuse of federal funds. Embattled Georgia DA has a pattern of ethical violations and abuses of power and misusing of funds, whistleblower says. Take a look at this secret recording between a former staffer under Fannie Willis and Fannie herself.
If you had to give me a sentence, what is the sentence theme?
once I told him about his respectfully and in an email about his lack of leadership and the fact that he wanted to do things with grants that were impossible. And I kept telling him, like, we can't do that, and questioning stuff. He would take me off projects, tell people I wasn't doing what I was supposed to because I questioned him. Because I understood, I helped write that grant. I knew what was in that grant. He told everybody in front of Crystal, Deontay, everybody, we're going to get MacBooks, we're going to do that, we're going to get swag, we're going to use it for travel. I said, you cannot do that. It's a very, very specific grant. Took me off. I questioned Junior DA. There's kids in there from out of the county, all this. Took me off Junior DA. I did not want to do it. He made it look as if I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I questioned him. Because I knew for a fact Mr. Cuffey respectfully did not know what he was doing, period.
So I respect that is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffey were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen to the words I'm saying.
Cuffey, and this is my personal opinion, to one woman to another, is dangerous to your administration. He tells people, when I reached out to you, he told me, oh, you think your word is safe? Exactly when you reached out to Miss Willis, she called me and told me, she told me everything. So once you reach out to her, she's going to reach back out to me. So I didn't even go to HR because he put Dexter's name on my PDP and I didn't even feel safe going to anybody.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 supervisors that have failed in this building. What's interesting to me, because I'm in a learning curve too, they each pretend to have a relationship with me that they do not have. Mm-hmm. I guess that's an intimidation tactic. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry that you felt that way, but Dexter certainly don't have no relationship with Michael Cuffey. You were safe to go those places.
Okay, now, when you listen to the clip itself, well, you probably aren't instantly convinced of a scandal. I mean, I think her responses to the allegations that her staffer was making were lackluster, to say the least. You could tell that she was biting her tongue. Most of us probably perceive as if she's protecting the individual in question who's misappropriating funds. She didn't seem also eager to jump on and go after this Cuffey character, but she doesn't say anything personally damning outright. But see, that's not where the story ends. What's interesting is that Mrs. Fannie Willis had a staffer come directly to her to complain about one of her colleagues' alleged misuse of taxpayer dollars, and a couple months later, Fannie Willis fired that individual. That's where this gets interesting. Fannie Willis may have fired the employee who warned her about mishandling of federal funds, but she didn't deny her allegations. Less than a year into her tenure as Fulton County District Attorney in 2021, Willis met with Amanda Timpson, an employee in the district attorney's office responsible for giving nonviolent juvenile offenders alternatives to the juvenile court system. During their conversation, a recording of which was reviewed by the Washington Free Beacon, Timpson claimed to Willis that she had been demoted after attempting to stop a top Willis campaign aide from misusing federal grant money meant for a youth gang prevention initiative. So yada yada yada. Of course, we heard what she said. The accusation was that they were taking the money to pay for swag and computers and travel. And now, less than 2 months later, Willis abruptly terminated Timpson and had her escorted out of her office by 7 armed security investigators, according to Timpson. When Timpson filed a whistleblower complaint the following year that alleged wrongful termination, Willis's office issued a statement describing Timpson as a holdover from the prior administration who was terminated because of her failure to meet the standards of the new administration. Timpson's experience sheds further light on how Willis, who campaigned on the promise of restoring integrity to the district attorney's office, does business. The Democrat has come under fire amid revelations that she tapped her lover, Nathan Wade, to handle the office's racketeering case against former President Trump. Willis is also alleged to have misappropriated taxpayer funds to facilitate her affair with Wade, a married man with scant prosecutorial experience. To Timpson, these twin incidents demonstrate a pattern of Willis's conduct. My case and Nathan Wade's case are very similar when you break them down point by point. Timpson told the Free Beacon ethical violations, abuse of power, and the misuse of county, state, and federal funds. And that right there is where Fannie Willis gets herself in trouble once again. She had a whistleblower who came to her. Fannie Willis ran a campaign on integrity, restoring integrity to the district attorney's office. We have that old flashback clip of Fannie Willis where she promises to Fulton County voters that she would never have a relationship with somebody who works under her, and anybody engaging in an inappropriate relationship with other members of her staff will be dealt with appropriately. She literally said she would fire anybody engaging in that kind of behavior.
It is saddening to me if young women felt like they came to work and they were, one, even judged for being a woman, but two, if certainly they felt uncomfortable within the workplace. That will not be something that is allowed on my watch. Supervisors under my leadership that are not encouraging and building up my staff will not be supervisors long in my administration. And I certainly will not be choosing people to date that work under me. Let me just say that.
And then lo and behold, she engages in that exact type of behavior in the worst kind of manner in the biggest case of her career, really.
Wow. This is a hot mess.
Oh yeah, she's toast.
Oh man, have you noticed everyone who went after Donald Trump is just falling apart? All their cases. Letitia James, we had a video about her. Now here's Fannie Willis. I did hear about the allegation with Nathan Wade. Somebody said I heard this guy said he said he was throwing his hot dog down her hallway. I'm like, no, man, he was parking his car in her garage. There's a difference. Yeah, leave that alone. But anyway, it goes to show this is a toxic environment. This woman has no business doing what she's doing. And my criticism has all been, we said it before. What's up with these black women being used by the Dems to go after Trump? It's like there's something about that. Like, what's up with these black women being used to go after Donald Trump? It's like, I don't see too many. Well, there is one black man, Calvin Brad in New York.
And I'm sure Wade.
Yeah, Wade is definitely, yeah. But anyway, it's crazy. It's sad. It goes to show the hypocrisy too that's behind all of this. That's why you gotta be careful when you go after a man like Donald Trump or anybody in power. Make sure you have a pretty clean record, because that stuff is gonna come up. And your life will be examined and scrutinized. And if you don't want your stuff to be exposed, don't go out there and try to expose anybody else's flaws. Like, you better make sure that you're pretty tight. But
how's it go? How can you ignore? How do you? Why do you try to get the sliver out of thy brother's eye when you have a beam in your own?
Oh yeah, Matthew 7, right? Yeah. Judge not that you be not judged, for with the same measure you judge, the same will be meted to you again. Yeah, why would you try to take this mote out of your brother's eyes and you forget about the beams that is in your own eyes?
Yeah.
And that's the idea. Yeah, the idea is this: if you are a hypocrite and your life stinks, don't try to go out there and expose somebody else's life. That's the idea.
And you're seeing that in action right here.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's like everyone that's going after Trump is falling apart. I just love watching it, how it all falls apart. It's like one by one,
they're gonna all fall down like dominoes. There's a reason they call them Teflon Don.
Exactly.
Exact type of behavior in the worst kind of manner in the biggest case of her career, really, in the biggest re-election campaign of her career. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, she doesn't resign, in other words, firing herself for engaging in the exact type of behavior that she deemed unacceptable and a fireable offense. No, of course not. She fired the only honest person working under her, a whistleblower who came to her privately to alert her of the personal misuse of federal funds. That's the person that Fannie Willis decided to get rid of. I mean, what do I even need to say at this point? I feel like it's pretty clear. We see who Fannie Willis is. It seems like it's all catching up to her now. She's got a whole big mess to deal with. Supposedly, Donald Trump's the evil criminal, and they're the good guys, but it seems like the good guys are being exposed as corrupt lunatics attempting to weaponize the justice system to go after Joe Biden's political opponent. Fannie Willis simply cannot be trusted. She's corrupt. She should resign. And it looks like her case going after Donald Trump is going to be in complete shambles here. Anyways, that's the update on Fannie Willis. I told you there'd be more. There's always more with this woman. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching.
That is so sad. I don't feel sorry for her at all. I just think she gets what she deserves in this case, especially when you're doing the bidding of the deep state. You know you're working for the deep state.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we have
the question: has hip hop?
we have Tom McDonald now. Oh boy.
And guys, if you like that, definitely check out Liberal Hive Mind. You know,
Liberal Hive
definitely
Mind.
he does his homework and he gets things right.
Yeah, he's the type of stuff you can listen to, man. He makes a lot of sense and can speak really well. And he's very balanced. Okay, Tom McDonald. The song Facts, and we gotta watch this video because it just gets a little crazy in here. But anyway, we're not gonna do the whole thing. We're gonna do at least half of it, but let's take a listen to this.
Well, this begs the question: has hip hop gone woke? I spoke to Ben about his unlikely transformation into a rap heavyweight yesterday, and today I'm joined by the artist who actually crafted the song, Tom McDonald. So, Tom, well, first of all, congratulations on this runaway smash hit. You're actually entitled to celebrate it because you are a bona fide rapper. Ben, I'm not quite so convinced by. Maybe a one-hit wonder. First of all, are you surprised by the backlash, or did you predict the backlash, and that was one of the reasons you did the song in the first place?
Well, I've made a lot of sort of anti-woke anthems over the years, and there's always a certain degree of backlash that comes with it. So this one was sort of, you know, a lot of my relationship with the audience is call and response. I make a song, people respond in the way that they do, and then I respond again with the next song. So, you know, Facts with Ben is sort of the cap on a long line of anti-woke anthems that have been met with pretty heavy criticism.
People in the black rap community have come out and said, look, this is just blatant cultural appropriation racism, because you're accusing all their music that they produce of being about selling drugs, pushing guns, stripper poles, turning our sons into thugs, and so on. What do you say to that criticism?
I think that there's, you know, there's all types of rappers out there. There's black rappers and white rappers and Asian rappers and Indian rappers, all types of rappers. And I don't think that criticizing sort of the status quo of the genre or criticizing the prevalent content of the music, I don't agree that there's anything racist about that.
What?
Yeah. So we're gonna fast forward now. You heard Tom McDonald's side of the story. Now he's gonna bring somebody else to the picture, and I want you to notice what happens then.
Thanks for having me, Pierce.
Okay, we heard from Tom, but now let's hear from the hip-hop establishment. Joining me now from New York is the highly respected rapper Talib Kweli, who also co-hosts the Midnight Miracle podcast with Dave Chappelle, and the DJ and digital media mogul DJ Vlad. Well, a very high-powered panel to respond. So let me start with you then, Talib. You and I have locked horns before on Twitter, as it used to be.
Yeah, you used to troll me on Twitter.
I think we both like to express ourselves forcefully, and absolutely no problem in doing that. What is your objection to this song?
Well, first of all, forgive my voice because I'm coming off tour. My voice sounds a little scratchy.
Forgive it.
I want
Sounds
to
pretty cool,
congratulate Tom. Okay, cool. I want to congratulate Tom McDonald on his journey in sobriety, because that's very important to note. That part of his story is about his journey in sobriety. I do think it's very cowardly and very racist to blame hip hop for his addiction, as if white people don't have addiction issues. That's first and foremost. But if we're going to talk about the song Facts with Ben Shapiro, let's have a facts versus feelings conversation, which is something that Ben Shapiro always says. The hook of the song is "This ain't rap," which I agree with. It's not rap. It's not hip hop. Has nothing to do with rap. Pierce, you're wrong. The song has nothing to do with rap. This song, he says, money, cars, clothes. We ain't selling drugs. We ain't gonna overdose. We ain't pushing guns. We ain't promoting stripper poles. We won't turn your sons into thugs and your daughters into hoes. This is not facts. He completely erased all conscious hip hop. You see, I got this shirt from Tribe Called Quest, one of the greatest rap groups of all time. He erased what I do. He erased what my people do. And most of my friends don't rap about those things. Tom is lying about rap.
Well, yeah, but hang on. Okay, all right. Yeah, but hang on.
First of all, he wow. All right, what's wrong with this man's argument? We might be asking the question, right? What's wrong with this man's argument? First of all, while you can't blame all hip hop, all rappers, right, for some of the stuff, but the mainstream rap music, the one that people are watching, conscious rap, they might get like 1 million, 2 million views. Of course, we have a few that are way up there, but the regular rap music as a whole, can we black people be honest for a minute? Like, what do we promote? Money, sex, drugs, violence. This is the theme: money, sex, drugs, violence. And if you look at that, for example, WAP. What is WAP about? Call me by your name by that guy, Lil Nas X. What is this about? When you look at the mainstream rap music, all they're promoting is wickedness, is degeneracy. Like, if you can't even say that and be honest with yourself without condemning all rappers, it goes to show that you're just a dishonest person, or you're living under a rock. Because the average person can look at this and say, yeah, not all rappers are bad, but most of what comes down from rap music is destroying black communities and even other communities as well. So let's just be fair. Doesn't mean Tom McDonald intended in any way to lambast all rap music, because he's a rapper himself. That makes no sense. So anyway,
we can even go back further. Look at NWA.
Yeah.
The police.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And until today, black communities still have a problem with the police until today, because these doctrines have been, inculcated in our minds. It's just be honest. Yeah.
So, I mean, you push these ideologies onto people enough, and drill it into their head enough, and now you're reaping the results.
Yeah.
And this is what Tom is pushing back against, and they don't like it.
It's true, though. It's not like the fact it's coming from Tom, and he has a white man. It's like he's not allowed to say that. Like, the truth is, this is what rap has been about for years. Like, rap hasn't added any value to black communities. I'm gonna be very honest. Tell me how many rappers have built schools and hospitals and colleges for black people. Tell me how many of them. How many of them have started restaurants so that black people can find jobs? Like, I can't find any. Like, these guys make money and they live the same neighborhood that they are from and go live into a white neighborhood. And they don't, I don't mean to be into colors and stuff, but the truth is most rappers don't live in their neighborhood. You know why? Because their music is so destructive. They themselves would get killed by the people that they've sold their music to. That's how bad of a thing it is. And all these rappers who have died for the past couple years have not been killed by the hands of a white man, by the way. Black people are killing them. So I'm just saying, look at all of that, these different factors. You can understand why Tom McDonald said what he said, and he's 100% correct. Now, you don't have to sit here and think it like this is easy speaking from a general perspective. Is it all? No, you don't have to do that. Stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. The reason he's saying that is because the mainstream rap, what's on the screen, what is heard and being sung all the time,
and what's on the radio.
Yeah, that's on the radio. That's what they sound like. That's all. We don't care. We're not saying the conscious rap themselves are bad. They're not bad, but they're not the ones that people are paying attention to, though.
I mean, look at Snoop Dogg. He made an entire career out of smoking weed.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's known for.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, that's something you want to glorify. That's just crazy to me, man. The immorality is so bad. It's so bad.
I don't think he's saying all rappers do. In fact, he made a point of saying he doesn't mean all rappers or all hip hop stars. But there's no doubt some do. There's no doubt some do that.
He made a point, of course. And there's some country music artists and some heavy metal artists that participate in violent and sexual content.
Here's the difference, buddy. Some might have said that in their songs, but the vast majority is not promoting that. If you listen to the average country song, they are not talking like this. Now, some country artists may have done things that are bad. Well, welcome to the world of a sinful people, because everybody commits sin. And if I tell you what church people do, you might be even shocker. But here's the thing. What he is applying here is so flawed. It goes to show that this man is not thinking. You can't compare country music, even heavy metal, even though you may have disagreement about that, the stuff that they do in worship and so on and different demonic stuff, they don't even do remotely close to the kind of stuff that we push in rap music. They're not even remotely close. Okay, so just to be fair, this is a dishonest answer. But again, let's let him continue, though.
But I would never make a song You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't specify that he meant some rap in the song. He specified that on your show when you question him. But on the song, he's saying, I'm trying to be offensive and I'm hoping to upset people. So guess what? As a black man who does hip hop, I'm offended. If you were trying to offend me, well, then you did a good job. To claim that rap or art is a cause of violence and or cause of addiction in his life is irresponsible and hypocritical. When a bomb drops in a nation, it falls on the just and the unjust. I watched a movie called Oppenheimer last night about a white man who made an atomic bomb that dropped on Japanese people because another white man genocided 6 million Jewish people. Killers of the Flower Moon is a great movie about white men who go and pillage and steal from Native American people. Yesterday, a Trump fan from Philly decapitated his father because his father was voting for Joe Biden. That's like vanilla ISIS. You can't tell me that in the culture that he claims that he stands for, that there's no violence and sex. You can't tell me that. Anyone.
This guy, do you get the sense that this man is very racist as well? He's got a problem with white people.
Oh yeah. Oh,
he magnifies.
So racist.
He magnifies a number of historical things that happened by the hands of white people. And by all means, we can point our fingers to that. And I think what was done to the black community and filling our black communities with drugs and everything, that was all bad. But guess what? Guess who took the drug and spread it, though? Black people. And also, when you're talking about somebody attack, I don't know where Trump comes into the picture because this has nothing to do with Trump. It goes to show that this man is completely disconnected from the argument. But the thing is, even if the person did what they did because of Trump, because they love Trump, you can't blame Trump for that. You can't blame white people for that. That's a person's choice and decision, and they were dealing with some issues. If you were to compare the level of violence done by the hands of black people to other black people, so how come you don't mention that in your discussion?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the level of violence perpetrated from blacks toward whites. It's over 70 something percent comparing to whites toward black. It's actually under 20. So if you were to compare even the stats, it goes to show black people are more violent toward themselves, more violent toward white people, more violent toward Chinese. It goes to show our way of thinking about humanity, even of ourselves, thanks to hip hop. You guys are part of the reasons why we are so crooked in our thinking. I mean, nobody's saying all rap music are responsible for this because people have to make their decisions. But the truth of the matter is, if you're indoctrinating the kid from childbirth, you keep telling them, this is what it likes to be a man. This is how you behave. When you're mad with somebody, you pull the trigger. When you got these issues, you sell the dope. You see the cops, you run from them. You don't you teach them not to respect authority, to disrespect women. You call the women the B word, and you promote all kind of violence. And then when they start acting up like that, you say, oh, that's irresponsible. It's not their fault. No, it is your fault. In part, of course, not fully, but it is your fault. You told these kids, you brainwashed them from their youth. You told them this is how they should behave. And when they start acting like that, you acting like you don't want to take responsibility for your sins. Excuse me, you did do it. It's a fact. Anyway, these people are crazy, man.
And they've been doing it for generations. That's the thing. And they don't want to take personal responsibility for their actions.
That's the thing. Black communities will never rise until they learn to confront hip hop. I'm saying this, you can document me. One of the reasons why black communities are in the condition that they are is due to violent, dark version of rap music. I don't want to condemn all rap because the indoctrination, that's where it happens. It's in the teachings. It is in the messaging that we are in this condition. It is not because we are lazy, we are bad. No, you speak to the average black man who moves from black communities, from these neighborhoods, they start opening business. They start making things happen. They get into a college education. And if you keep their husband, if you keep their mother and wives together, those kids tend to prosper. But if you stay in that environment, study shows you don't do well. I had to leave. I was in Brooklyn, New York. I had to pack up my bag. I'm like, no. I realized all my friends were acting crazy. And I packed up my bag and left. I didn't even say goodbye. I'm so serious. It was one day I just packed up my stuff and I said, I'm moving to Pennsylvania with my aunt and I will not sit at these guys' feet anymore because I realized these guys were going down into the crypt. They were becoming gangsters and they were my friends. I'm like, you know what? They had influence on me. I said, my best chance is to escape. And I packed up my bag and left, came to PA, changed my phone number. This is how I escaped from that. If I stayed there and trying to be nice and trying to be kind, and I probably would be behind bars right now because they had me pierce my ears. I was close to getting some tattoos. At this time, I didn't even know Jesus. It was only a matter of time before I started pulling the trigger. But you got to escape that environment or else you're doomed. It's that dangerous of a thing because influence is power. And people don't know this is a joke. It's not a joke. These kids are under serious negative demonic influence. They're not bad children. They're just under a place where they become menace to society because of where they're from. It's a fact. That you can't lie about that. That's the truth.
And Megan here has a point, that you are what you eat. It's like what you intake is whether or not your parents or other adults, peers, movies, TVs, music, everything. Whatever you take in visually, audibly, whatever you decide to listen to, watch, and whatever the case may be, that's going to influence your behaviors, your attitude, your lifestyle, point blank, period.
Yeah, you are what you eat. The Bible says, as the man thinks in his heart, so is he.
Exactly.
So, there you go. Thank you, Megan.
He claims that he stands for, that there's no violence in sex. You can't tell me that. Anyone who supports Trump, like Tom McDonald does in his music, after Trump's mugshot, after January 6th, after this man has been indicted for rape and has 91 felonies, you can't tell me about Blue Lives Matter. You can't tell me that you're about law and order. You're being a hypocrite.
Okay, powerful words. DJ Vlad, you've been sitting there patiently. What do you make of all this?
I mean, I agree. Someone with Talib Kweli, who's also a friend of mine. The problem is that when you talk about rap and you want to talk about the gangster lyrics, the violent lyrics, the drug lyrics, when you look at rap as a whole, when you look at the biggest rappers in the world right now, Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, these guys aren't rapping about drugs. They're not talking about violence. They're not talking about, beating women or whatever else. And I think a lot of times when you have these songs that try to generalize these types of things, it oversimplifies things and it gives rap in general a bad name. So it's kind of annoying. And, listening to the song, on face value, it doesn't sound like he's really saying anything wrong. But a lot of times when you have these sort of white supremacist type of sayings, like, for example, all lives matter, from the outside looking in, of course, all lives matter. But it's really a shot at Black Lives Matter and kind of trying to undermine that type of thing. So I really don't like, what we call in hip hop sneak dissing. And I feel the song has a lot of sneak dissing.
Tully, would it be fair to say that hip hop has moved to a, for want of a better word, a better place? That the biggest stars no longer.
I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
Causal.
What's wrong with all lives matter? Does that not include Black lives too? Am I missing something here?
Because if you say all lives matter, you're denying Black Lives Matter. That's the argument.
But all lives, everyone, that includes all lives, including Black lives. What's so bad about that?
There's nothing wrong with that if you're looking at it from a logical standpoint. But what they all try to argue is, as you already know, I'm just preaching to the choir here. Black Lives Matter exclude everybody else. It does. Because you, by the nature of putting a color on lives, you automatically exclude everybody else. Although I get what you're trying to say from the perspective that, violence and so on toward blacks. But I think that message should be louder in black communities because more violence are done by the hands of black communities to black people. That's what they're showing. So if Black Lives Matter, you should be preaching that to black people before you go anywhere else, because what the cops were doing were not anything remotely close to what happens on a regular basis in black communities by the hands of gangsters and so on. Even innocent lives have been taken. I mean, if you watch the news long enough, you will realize there's a lot of violence in these communities, in Philly, in Chicago. If you just watch what's happening, it's pretty tragic and disastrous. So going back to what you said, yeah, all lives do matter. And that will also include black people. Yeah. Right? Cops also include in that, white people include in that, even the Chinese too, because they themselves experiencing a number of violence from black people too. So what's up with that?
Yeah. So I don't see a problem with all lives matter. Like it's legitimately including everyone, including black people.
Yeah.
Like and I'm sorry, his like underhanded or whatever hidden disc.
Yeah,
bull crap. It's like, shut up. Come on now. I mean, for crying out loud, we got Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B as like the #1 hip hop artist for how long?
Yeah.
With WAP.
Yeah.
How long was that in the #1 Billboard slot?
For a while.
Before Tom McDonald came along and knocked them off their pedestal?
I know. And you tell me how much value these women, how much value do they add to community, to the world? How does WAP, how does Sexy Red, how do these women add anything of value to your family, your future, your spirituality? What do they add to the country? Please tell me.
Yeah. Like, and who he's talking about is pretty much irrelevant at this point in the hip hop community.
Mm-hmm.
They're just about phased out.
Yeah.
With all the new artists coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So his argument is kind of pointless as far as I'm concerned.
Very much so. Oh, he gets worse. Watch this.
The offense, and actually it's changed. Is that accurate?
See, I don't think that this should be a conversation with 3 white people and 1 black person about this.
That's what I mean. Yo, you know how dumb you got to be to say something like that? How racist you got to be? Listen to the question again. Listen to what he said. That's just crazy to me.
And actually it's changed. Is that accurate?
See, I don't think that this should be a conversation with 3 white people and 1 black person about the state of hip hop and a referendum on hip hop. I think that's the wrong direction to go. One more thing I'm gonna say about Donald Trump is that Tom McDonald is an immigrant. Donald Trump just said immigrants are poisoning our blood here in America. Donald Trump uses white nationalist rhetoric.
Hold up.
You guys been watching MSNBC and CNN. You could tell the kind of stuff he's repeating the same lies from the mainstream media. Go ahead.
Oh God, this guy makes my brain hurt. Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord
This
Jesus.
conversation should not be happening between 1 black man and 3 white people. What do you mean by that, brother? Like, what's wrong with white people cannot have an opinion on hip hop because of their skin color? You know how many white rappers we have? One of the greatest rapper ever lived is Eminem. Oh, guess what skin color he is? There's a lot of white rappers out there who's done amazing songs. I mean, even Mike Miller, even though he lost his life in a very drastic way, and he was pushing a lot of drugs in the black communities and so on, but nevertheless, he was big. So again, I don't know.
Then you have people like Upchurch, Adam Calhoun.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Jelly Roll.
You don't consider them rappers because of their skin color, so you're a racist. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Point blank. Period. Just face it. You're a racist, dude.
He's ridiculous, yo. He's ridiculous. Oh my goodness.
And now he wants to play the immigrant card. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. There's a difference between illegal immigrant and legal immigrant.
Exactly.
Tom did it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
The problem Trump has is with those who don't do it the right way.
Yeah.
You have to learn to be able to distinguish the difference.
Yeah. But the proof is in the pudding now. Have you seen the level of violence that's going on as a result of illegal migration? These guys are not. They are creating all kind of chaos in society. This is why the stuff that happened in New York with, 7-something of them beat 2 cops. The reason why people are talking about this is because this is the result of illegal migrants. Go ahead.
Exactly. I mean, that's my whole thing is it's like, dude, Tom came here legally and he did it the right way. Now we have all these illegals flooding over and crime is skyrocketing and they're trying to beat up cops. We had a cop almost go to jail because he had to defend himself against these guys. It's like, are you crazy? Am I taking crazy pills? Like what planet am I on right now? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Coming from obviously someone who's like, I can tell you're like,
he is out
the
of his
poster child for black racism.
Yes, he surely is.
Like,
but you could tell where he got his substance from too. The kind of media he indulges, because some of the things he's talking about here, like, are exactly the stuff I hear from MSNBC, CNN, ABC, these news that are completely left wing in their thinking. And he's like, and I'm still asking the question though, like, what does what does Donald Trump has to do with this conversation?
Not a thing. Nothing. Who brought Donald Trump into this at all?
That is crazy. Why are you inserting Trump in the conversation? Trump didn't do any music. He
And
had
you know what?
nothing to do with the rap song.
And like Megan says, I guarantee you, Tom
Mhm.
has more respect and love for this country than this guy does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I don't understand this complaining attitude, ungrateful spirit, because here is a man who is a rapper who just literally had a concert and he's talking about how his voice and he's at a concert. You gotta let us know about that. Okay, fine. You making millions of dollars. This guy is up there in rap music, but you complaining like you have nothing going for yourself in the greatest country in the world. No matter how you feel about the United States, it's still one of the best countries in the world with all the craziness we got going on. So here is this guy complaining, yet he is making money off rap music. Here's another thing. You know who listens to your music? Oh, I got news for you. Over 85% of rap music is being consumed by white people. Did you know that? Because black people, most of us, I hate to lie about this, but it's true. I don't mean to say this. We download this stuff for free. We oftentimes don't purchase this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
It's true. They don't purchase it. They download
bootleg
it. Yeah, they bootlegged the thing, and also the black community is only about 13%. So majority of who is consuming your stuff are white people. So who you speaking against? You're speaking against your own fan base.
This dude's just an NPC.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know what that means, but he's a non-player character.
Yeah. NPC, yeah.
So I mean, like he's a freaking joke. I think he's trying to play another Malcolm X
Yeah.
and bring Black Panther type times, and I
Yeah.
don't know what he's going for here, but
Mhm.
like I mean, come on, dude.
But you know the thing is there was
We
this
see through your
video.
charade.
There was this video, I think Tyrese was talking. No, it wasn't Tyrese. It was this rapper, not rapper, basketball player. He played for New York. He had a lot of tattoos and so on. But if I think of his name, I'll put it back up. But what he was saying was that without all the money that black people have, they could have fixed black communities 100 times.
Mhm.
They would go to the strip club and spend $200,000 on strippers just like that every single night. But how many schools have you built? I know LeBron James did a little something, even though the school is not the best, but at least he tried. How many schools? How many colleges? How many hospitals? How many businesses? How many loans are you? Do you own any bank where you're allowing people to come get something from you that they can actually start something? Like if these rappers, including just basketball players alone, will put their head together, they can fix black communities with a few $1 million. These guys worth so much money, but they don't invest in their own people. But they want to complain about Donald Trump. I'm like, bro, you a liar. Have you noticed what the Indian families do, what the Mexican do when they come here? They team up. They come together and they help each other out. In the Indian families, you can actually go to different parts. If you're from India, you can actually go get loans from them and start start a food store. You can start a restaurant, or you can even own a gas station as a result of that, even though you came with no money whatsoever. You know why? Because they have a work in business. They have this mindset of building. That's not the mindset we have. It's just complaining and explaining and whining, but you're not addressing real issues to help black people at all. And you're just defying dark version of hip hop as if it doesn't exist. It does exist. It's deadly. It has an impact on our youth. I know what I'm talking about. I can tell you young people from my church who are doing just fine spiritually, when they begin to listen to your music, they left. They are out in the street. They are out in the streets. You can even get their attention. We have two of them that I met the other day. He was part of our youth program. You know what he's doing now? He is actually taking drugs in the streets of Reading. Where did you get the idea from? This guy, I was trying to talk to him. He's just, oh, it's Pastor James. Oh, I'm sorry. You can see me like this. I'm like, man, it's okay. He runs away. Do you know why this happens? Because of messages like this. These guys are a joke, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is it kills me because they don't realize how much damage they're actually doing.
Yeah,
and I was watching a video the other day where the guy who broke it down, the white populace gets $1 and they increase their wealth
Yeah.
by like 8-fold.
Yeah.
The Chinese populace gets
Mhm.
$1 and they increase their wealth by like 16-fold.
Yeah.
The Jewish populace gets theirs and they increase it by like 24-fold.
Yeah.
You know, the black community gets $1 and it's gone the same day.
It doesn't bounce.
It doesn't bounce.
Yeah, his name is Dr. There it is. Actually, I have it here. I did share it on my
single black community in America.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
40 years in jail for places too, the best. And once you build that economy, spend your money with your own people, make it bounce 8 to 10 times. In this country right now, Hispanics, no, let's take Hispanics. Hispanics bounce their money on an average of 6 to 7 times in Mexican time. Little Havana, little Cuba. White folks typically bounce their money 8 to 12 times. Arabs bounce and Arabs and Asians bounce their money about 13 or 14 times. Jews bounce their money about 18 times. Black money doesn't bounce once. As soon as a black person gets paid, he runs straight to somebody else's business and give them their money. That means they go bankrupt every night. Every black neighborhood goes bankrupt every night at 7 o'clock. Stays bankrupt.
You see, that's the truth right there. I bet if Tom McDonald said that, you would call him racist.
Yeah. and it's you know, it's a hard truth, but I mean,
hard pill to swallow. Hard pill to swallow.
it is a truth, you know, and that's something that he needs to figure out and learn to contend with, because until that gets fixed, nothing's going to change.
Nothing at all.
Like back in the, I mean, when we did the review of the documentary, when there was Black Wall Street, the black communities were prospering and thriving.
Yeah.
But now you turn around and came out with all this hip hop and others, and you didn't have that back then.
Nope.
You know, what did you have? You had blues, you had jazz.
Yep.
Which, granted, some of it may have been Little Hold'em, drove blue, you know, depressing at times, but
for the most part,
it was wholesome.
Yeah, it wasn't degeneracy. Yeah, I think what Roque said here, and it's true, man. Meanwhile, the Haitians and Black Africans overseas be laughing at y'all African Americans. It's true. Even those in
what would love to trade places.
Yeah, but not only that, but the ones that are here, most Caribbeans that are here are doing fine. Like you go to the average colleges, and even they were doing a study recently about how many black doctors are in school. Over 90% of them were Caribbean blacks. They were not, you know, Black Americans. Very few were Black Americans, and the ones who were Black Americans, they found another component that was crucial. They had a mother and a father in the home, and I'm like, there we go again. So most Black families will do fine if mommy and daddy stay together. And again, we go back to some political stuff here, because obviously there's been an attack on the Black family, but it's been perpetuated by rap music as well. So yeah, going back to what Roque said here, most people who are coming from different parts of the world, people like myself, I don't consider myself a successful great man. All I simply know is that I'm not doing this. I'm not pulling no trigger. Praise God for his grace and mercy in my life. But we have amazing families. All of our families are doing fine. Some of these issues these guys are talking about, we don't even know them. So it's not because we're better than you. I'm just saying God has had mercy on our souls, and he's taught us better, and we're making better decisions as well. So that's a fact. Argue all you want. You know, even where I live now, every stores that are owned, either phone stores and so on, they are owned by some Black Caribbeans. It's either Hispanics or Blacks or whites. I have seen almost zero store owners in where I'm in, just in Pennsylvania alone. I have not experienced a single one that are actually Black Americans. Cannot find one. Doesn't mean they don't exist, but I'm just saying where I'm at, it's just not happening. The ones that are business minded.
Well, even the ones that did exist ended up getting burned down during the Summer of Love.
Yeah.
I mean,
Black Lives Matter. Does it? Does it really?
Let's be honest. I mean, if we're going to be honest
You
about it.
destroy the black businesses in the process of you trying to protest against injustice, and you do injustice to the black businesses themselves. That's just crazy to me. That's a crazy backward logic. Wow, let's digest a few more of his stuff because he keeps going.
Poisoning our blood here in America. Donald Trump uses white nationalist rhetoric from Mein Kampf and Hitler all the time, and this guy is a supporter of his.
Yeah, but
This song is called Facts.
hang on. Listen, you can have your views about Donald Trump. That's fine. And by the way, you can
No,
say
I said I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm done with that.
No,
I'm done with that. That's why I was going to the
I
song.
get it, but the idea that I'm not allowed to, or DJ Vlad isn't allowed to comment about hip hop or rap is ridiculous.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
basically
that.
said
DJ
it.
Vlad.
You did say that. You at least applied it. That's what you implied.
That's exactly what you said. The fact that we're here having a discussion about hip hop and rap with 3 white dudes and 1 black guy is ridiculous.
It shouldn't be happening. That means those white people should not have an opinion on this situation.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's exactly what was implied.
He's putting his foot in his mouth here. It's crazy, man. It's dishonest.
Hip hop or rap is ridiculous.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
basically
that.
said
DJ
it.
Vlad. No, I didn't. Let me be clear. DJ Vlad is a controversial figure in our culture. A lot of people accuse him of being a culture vulture. That is not a criticism that I personally agree with, although I do understand the argument. I work with, if unbeknownst to a lot of people, I've done more songs with white rappers than any rapper you can name, any black rapper you can name. My next single is featuring Mac Miller, rest in peace. I work with Macklemore. I work with R.A. the Rugged Man. There's no problem with white people in hip hop. There's a problem with racist white people in hip hop. And Tom McDonald's song is racist and is factually incorrect. And I could break down what's factually incorrect in the song Facts. And I could break down how Ben Shapiro started his career by saying rap isn't music. So you got somebody featured on your song who tweeted in 2019, fact, rap isn't music. And if you think it is, you're stupid. Well, that person is clearly not an anti-racist, intelligent person. Tom McDonald owes the hip hop community an apology for putting someone on a song that in 2009.
I can tell you that's not going to happen. I can guarantee you that. You need to apologize or we're going to cancel you. This is the stuff with the left. They like to wash your character. They like to mop the floor with your character. You got to come here and apologize to us.
He had to go back to 2009. He had to dig that far back to find something that he said.
Yeah.
It's like, what? People's opinions can't change over time?
Yeah.
I mean, and the only apology you're going to get are 2 fingers on each of Tom's hands.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
I know exactly what you mean. This guy is funny, man. He's asking for an apology from Tom McDonald. Yo, you crazy.
It just ain't gonna happen, bro.
That person is clearly not an anti-racist, intelligent person. Tom McDonald owes the hip hop community an apology for putting someone on a song that in 2009, writing for a white nationalist site, Breitbart, wrote an article saying rap is crap. These people don't respect hip hop. Tom McDonald is making rap for people.
Well, I think you're missing. Look, I played some of this stuff back to Ben Shapiro yesterday. I think you're slightly missing the point. He's lampooning the world of rap and hip hop.
Oh, I'm not missing the point.
You think there's a lot of hypocrisy and double standard there?
I'm very clear that Ben Shapiro is lampooning hip hop. I'm very clear about that. I'm not under any misconception.
Even you must admit when John Legend goes out of his way to rewrite the lyrics to
Hold on a second. Because of the media. He just got called out and then turned around and backtracked his own argument just to turn around and appear that he was like, oh, I'm not wrong about this.
He's canceling.
Like, dude, you just said one thing and then turn around and backtrack on what you just said to say that that's not what you said. What? No. In what world did you not just say what you just said? It's on the internet.
Our man is confused right now. He is very confused.
Dude's lost in the sauce. That's what it is. Okay, let's just face facts. That dude is lost in the sauce.
Yep. Let's let him finish.
Me Too campaign because he thinks it's about sexual assault, but doesn't rewrite any lyrics from any hip hop or rap song in the last 50 years. You got to admit there is a ridiculous double standard there, isn't there?
I couldn't disagree more. I completely disagree. with
Really?
that, because I think you're removing
You got to admit there is a ridiculous double standard there, isn't there?
I couldn't disagree more. I completely disagree.
Really?
With that, because I think you're removing all social, political, and historical context that goes into creating hip hop and equating it with the social, political context that
You
goes into
genuinely
creating a
think
Christmas
"Baby It's
song.
Cold Outside" is more offensive than anything that the
I
hip
didn't
hop...
say that.
Well, you implied it.
I didn't say that. I said no. I didn't imply it. I said you are removing context to make a false equivalency.
No, the
Please don't-
context is very
please don't
straightforward.
misquote
John
me.
Legend chose to rewrite the lyrics to "Baby It's Cold
No,
Outside,"
I understand.
but he didn't
Pierce,
rewrite
Pierce,
any of the
Pierce.
offensive, misogynist, violent
Pierce,
lyrics of his friends in the rap world.
Pierce, I get that that's how you feel, but your feelings.
It's not
ain't
a feeling,
facts.
it's a fact.
And the facts is, oh no, that's not. Well, it's not a fact that
It's a
problem
fact
that
that
he did
John
that.
Legend
That's a
hasn't
feeling.
rewritten any
And
lyrics
it's
to
not a
people in the
fact
hip hop
and
world.
it's not a. Pierce Morgan, John Legend is not your slave. He doesn't have to do what
He's
you
not my
say. That's a
slave, but he
fact.
can be a...
Oh my goodness, this guy is wild. Yo, he said.
Dude has no argument when he gets his feet put to the fire.
Do you notice what he does? He pulled the racism card every time he is cornered. They goes to show when a man has no substance.
But the problem is Pierce Morgan don't care.
He doesn't care about that. And I love Pierce Morgan for this alone. He presses people when others will just leave them and give them a green pass. He said John Legend is not your slave. Yeah, well, John Legend is guilty of changing lyrics that doesn't fit his supposed narrative. When you have millions of rap songs that are promoting ungodly stuff, he sings them, he raps them. He doesn't care about that. That is a double standard. To call that out doesn't mean he has to be your slave. That's just stupid. That's just dumb. Oh, when a man speaks like that, he loses me. He loses me because you're not being fair to the argument here.
He didn't just lose you. He lost the argument, period. Like, dude, come on, man.
Slave. No, that has nothing to do with slavery. This is an argument we're talking about here.
It's a fact.
And the facts is, oh no, that's not. Well, it's not a fact that
It's
a
a
problem
fact
he
that
did
John
that.
Legend
That's a
hasn't
feeling.
rewritten any
And
lyrics
it's
to
not a
people in the
fact
hip hop
and
world.
it's not a. Pierce Morgan, John Legend is not your slave. He doesn't have to do what you
He's
say.
not my
That's a
slave, but he
fact.
can be a hypocrite, and he
Then,
was.
then let's stop talking about John Legend because this is not about John Legend. Let's
No,
talk
but
about the
you-
song facts.
all right, but you-
Let's stop deflecting.
I'm
Stop
not deflecting.
and-
That's weird because this guy was talking about Donald Trump this whole time. That had nothing to do with the argument. He was deflecting. He was being emotional. He was asking for an apology. He's offended. And then now he is the same standard that is applying to Pierce Morgan. He doesn't apply to himself. It goes to show how man is this.
I was gonna say when he gets called to the mat, it's like, what now? But dude, you're getting called out to the mat, and you can't take the heat you've been putting out. You wanted the smoke, now you're getting the heat.
You're getting the heat. Now you're running and hiding and ducking. He wasn't ready for this conversation. He didn't know what was coming at him. I love Pierce Morgan for this. Yeah, it kind of corners you a little bit. I love that. Oh, now he's talking about you can deflect. You've been deflecting this whole argument. This whole time you've been deflecting from the original discussion. It's crazy.
He's not my slave, but he can be a hypocrite, and he
Then,
was.
then let's stop talking about John Legend because this is not about John Legend. Let's
No,
talk
but
about the
you-
song facts.
all right, but you-
Let's stop deflecting.
I'm
stop
not
deflecting,
deflecting.
and let's talk about the song facts.
Okay.
Okay. So can we get back to
Hang
the song
on.
facts?
Let me
Okay,
bring in
the
DJ
first-
Vlad. He's
the
been
first
very
lyric.
Tyler, there's three of us
Okay,
here.
the-
We bring in
okay.
DJ Vlad. You apparently, DJ Vlad, you're a culture vulture. What does that mean, first of all?
I mean, from my point of view, I think that's a slang for pretty much any white person in hip hop. I've seen every prominent white person in hip hop being called a culture vulture, from Steve Rifkin to Leor Cohen to Eminem to Mac
black
Miller.
people. Also, black people get called culture vultures. Also, black people get called culture vultures.
No, they don't. Black
Wait.
people can do anything and get away with it in this.
You notice he knows he's full of crap because he has to look away.
Yeah, because he knows he's lying. It's not even a good liar. He said
Like,
black people are called
he's
culture vulture.
terrible at
Which
it.
culture?
He's like,
which culture
oh.
vulture? Which culture has black people stolen? Which
Yeah.
one? Which one are they being blamed for stealing? This guy is lying, man.
and name one black person that got called a culture vulture for stealing rap and hip hop.
Please. No.
Yeah.
Maybe is he referring to the what's his name? The black country artist. Is it more what's his name? Darius something? Yeah, I think his name is Darius. But anyway.
I don't know.
Either?
I don't think anybody had any problem with any black country singer.
No. Actually, if you look them up, there's not too many black country artists. I have had a few on my channel. There were some ladies as well.
I mean, maybe in their early days of country, they may have like Charlie Pride.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Charlie Pride, Tina Turner, and also Darius Rucker is one.
I really wouldn't consider Tina Turner a country singer.
Yeah, she's more like a long rock and so on, right?
Yeah.
Ray Charles is not so much. It's more like jazz. But yeah, I think Darius Rucker is a country artist who is very famous. I have never heard him complaining about racism.
No.
He's never been called a culture vulture. This is where your skills and your talent matter. This is when you're looking at people from the content of their character into the color of their skin. Because you're like, does he do a good job at the thing? Does he have the ability to do it? You know, it doesn't matter what his skin color is. If he can rap, let him rap. If he can sing, let him sing. It's simple as that. This is the logic.
Yeah, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, it's simple as that. But instead, he's focusing on the color of the individual. It goes to show the level of racism that's behind the discussion here, you know.
Also,
Mac
black
Miller,
people. Also, black people get called culture vultures. Also, black people get called culture vultures in this culture.
See, it doesn't. It's
just
not.
white people.
It's not
Also white.
skin color specific. You can be a black
No, it's
or
not.
white
It's not.
culture
It's not.
vulture. Right. Okay.
It's not. Absolutely.
Am I a
Absolutely.
culture vulture?
But white people do get it. White people do get a little heavier than others, and I've never minded being.
That's
called.
right,
For
because
me,
white
it's
people.
fine.
That's
I'm not
exactly
so much.
that's
I-
exactly right.
yeah.
Because white people are the dominant group. That's how it goes. Racism is not logical or convenient for anybody. Sorry.
Well, I mean, white
Yeah,
people
I
aren't the
don't mind.
dominant
My
group in music. I mean,
contribution-
hang on. White people are not the dominant group in music anymore. I would say most of the
Yes, they
biggest
are.
stars
Yes,
in the
they are.
world right
Yes,
now
they
are not white.
White people own all of the record companies. White people own all of the record companies, Pierce. That's true.
Well, I
White
had that
people,
conversation
the
with
6 major
Kanye.
labels-
I had that conversation with Kanye, and he felt very strongly about it. And I had that conversation with him. And
I agree with him about this part. But the whites you're talking about are the 3-letter words, right? The JEWs. Yeah, that is a problem, and I've had an issue with that too. It's kind of like you guys, the same people who own the record companies are actually funding rap music. They are funding the prisons. So it goes to show that you just want to lock our people up, you know. So there's some truth to that argument. Yeah.
Who owns Def Jam? I thought Dre did.
I don't know. Good question. I have no idea.
I thought Dr. Dre
But-
and Snoop Dogg were like co-owners of Def Jam Records.
But there's also a monopoly in these records, right? There's like Universal Records. There's a whole bunch of them. There's Sony Records. So there's like
Right, like the major labels like
The major
Sony.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I think we can stop this guy. He's
And I also know that there's ICP's label is completely independent as well.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's crazy.
All
right.
I was asking Metasap. I wasn't sure.
Well, I know you got things to do. We did have a few more things on our list.
If we got more, I got time.
Okay. What I wanted to look at is, oh man. Okay, there is this preacher out there. I want to get your perspective on him. And then
This fight has come to us, and you know what I say?
all right, we're gonna listen to him quick, and then we're gonna end with this guy because he's wild. I had one with Russell Brand, but I'll make a video separate about that. So let's listen to this guy. His name is Pastor Anderson. I've actually featured him on my other channels before, but I want to hear your take on this guy. I'm not sure if you've seen him before, so here we go.
This fight has come to us, and you know what I say? Bring it on! No homos will ever be allowed on this church as long as I'm the pastor here.
I'll put it this way. Any man who would have sex with another man would have sex with an animal.
That's blatantly not true.
That is true. about 5 or 10 years ago, a lot of the stuff that I preached, people thought it was too radical.
Now, to me, LGBT stands for let God burn them.
Right. But now they're starting to see, oh, wow, he's right.
But you say, well, it's LGBTQ. Well, then you could say, let God burn them quickly.
I think what makes our church special is just how the preaching is totally unfiltered.
I don't have any advice for homosexuals except to put a bullet in your own head so that you don't molest my kids or anyone else's kids.
Ooh, boy. Something is wrong.
Okay, that's a bit extreme.
Wow. Stuff like this keeps people out of the church. It keeps people away from Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not attractive at all. I'm so glad the gospel doesn't teach these things, you know. If you read the Bible, you realize this brother is serving a whole nother Jesus. You know, maybe it's the other gospel that the Apostle Paul speaks about, you know, another spirit. Yeah. Because he is out of his mind, berserk. He is so extreme. So extreme. That is, you said put a bullet in people's, I mean, even if I get what he's trying to say, but when you're a minister, you also got to remember who you are, right? Being a minister, there's some things you don't even get involved into. It doesn't mean you can talk about culture issues and things like that. But when you start calling for these things to take place, you start appealing to violence. It goes to show you lose your credibility as a minister.
Because I mean, even these people can be redeemed and change their ways.
Absolutely. We got to always bring the gospel of hope. There is hope through Christ. There's salvation in him. There's restoration in Christ. There's always, you can't lay that mental down, man. It's just what you have to present to the world. They may resist and reject it, but you should never stop offering it, you know. Simple as that.
No, there's totally financial say there's no such thing as hate speech. It's just free speech. And that's the difference is without free speech, we wouldn't be able to see these people for who they are and speak out against what they're saying and refute what they're saying and rebuke what they're saying.
Absolutely. Vader's daughter said it best. All right, I'm against homosexuality because it is a sin. But never would I say that someone should blame them. You see?
Exactly.
That's the difference right there.
And especially her next one.
Yeah.
Hate the sin, not the sinner.
Exactly. There you go. There you go.
You know, because these people can find redemption in Jesus. That is the whole point. That is the point of what Jesus came to earth to do.
Yeah. Roque is something else. Oh, man. That's something else. Okay.
Unfiltered. I don't have any advice for homosexuals except to put a bullet in your own head so that you don't molest my kids or anyone else's kids.
Uncensored, just raw Bible preaching. And that's what people are looking for.
Hey, what's up? Gotta get live streaming for Facebook.
I'm here today to change the hearts of a lot of these kids within the church that are stuck, that just are blinded by the pastor. The point of Christianity is to love.
I mean, I didn't choose that, hey, in the end times, before the second coming of Christ, we're going to have to be ripping face about a bunch of perverts and homos. I didn't choose this fight. This fight has come to us. And you know what I say? Bring it on! What's up, guys?
Oh, there we go, Mr. Anderson. There
Yeah,
we go.
in the flesh.
There we go, in the
So are you guys homos or just sympathizers?
I'm a Bible-believing Christian.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
difference. All of you guys pop out because you just say, I'm saved. So whatever you do, when you beat your wife, when you beat your kids, when you do what you want in sin, it's okay because you're already saved. That's why you're just a cop-out.
You know what? It's a sin not to beat your kids. It's a sin not to beat your kids. The Bible says, "Thou shalt beat."
Jesus Christ beat a kid.
Thou shalt beat.
Did Jesus Christ beat a kid?
The Bible says, "Thou shalt beat." Man bun here. I'm done listening to man bun.
It's okay. It's okay. You have a bunch of half-wits halfwits laughing with you saying,
All right, see you later, man bun.
You don't know your Bible 33:11. Read it. Trust me, you're far from saved. You're far from saved.
Yeah, I would have fraternized with him. Yeah.
Hold on. Actually, what the Bible says is spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah, yeah.
So even the pastor's getting that wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
the
know
rod-
where he got his pastorate from, but he
Mhm.
needs to go back and get educated
Mhm.
on
You-
actual
you gotta-
Bible.
Yeah, you gotta be careful how you interpret the word rod too, because in Psalm 23, God says, "My rod and my staff, they comfort me." Sometimes it's consequences, sometimes it is discipline. It doesn't always mean pulling a rod and whip the child with it. That's not
Yeah.
necessarily the case. You gotta be careful how you interpret these things. For me, like our children, they will lose their toys, they will lose TV time, or they will have to do timeout. By the time we get to one of those options, oftentimes the behavior is corrected. So I don't even have to raise my hands or raise my voice.
Yeah.
But again, it's just this is the ministers that we are listening to into this culture. No wonder why people are confused.
I mean, the whole idea and the premise behind the verse is you need to do the child needs to understand that there are consequences for their bad behavior.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of my sons right now, his grades were bad, and now he's losing his phone privilege. He used to come home and have a phone. Now he comes home, the phone turned into me. He doesn't get it till 7 p.m. and he only has it for 1 hour. By 9 o'clock, he has to turn it in. By 8 o'clock, he has to get a shower. At 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, he turns his phone in. So he gets the phone for 1 hour now because his grades were poor. Because he wasn't doing his work, he was hiding the stuff. He was acting like he was doing his work. He was hiding the papers, and he will come home and play video games. Say, "My work is done." He was lying. So there's gonna be consequences. So the technology is taken away, and the phone is gonna be taken away. He doesn't have access to video games anymore until his grades go back up. That's just what we do as parents. We address the issues for what they are. But you don't have to call for the death of an individual. You should not. You should be careful with child abuse and stuff like that. That's not a good thing.
Everything needs to be proportional to the act that was committed.
Yes.
I mean, if a kid's grades are slipping, you don't sit there and tan them until they can't sit down for a week.
No, that's not fair.
That's not right.
Mm-hmm. This guy is out of his mind, man. All right.
Yeah.
You sick homophobic son of a bitch. Talking about God striking down, he should strike down on your church and burn it to a crisp.
I can't even count how many people have threatened to come and kick my whatever and beat me up and rape me and violently rape my children. I mean, we got an email recently where they went into great detail how they're going to violently rape each child. They'd name the child and then say exactly what they're going to do to that child.
That is bad too, but guess who's in part responsible for that?
That would be the person leading the church.
You are leading the church. So.
And just as a side note, I want to put this out there. I'm a Baptist, and not all Baptists believe this way.
Oh, no.
Okay, and not like this guy. This guy is like a crazy extreme on Baptist.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
beliefs.
Not if the descent Baptist doesn't. They don't talk like that generally.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Rape each child. They'd name the child and then say exactly what they're going to do to that child.
Kill you and kill all the people that believe in killing the LGBT.
Well, enjoy AIDS, I guess, right? I'm willing to lose everything. I'm willing to give up everything. I will never stop. I don't care what the cost is. I will never stop preaching the Bible.
There's one problem, though. You're not preaching the Bible correctly.
I was going to say, then you might want to actually learn the Bible. I mean, that might help.
Yeah. I've done other videos to this guy for my other channels as well. He goes completely, like, he will have an entire sermon about like a political person, right? You will find a political leader that he disagrees with. He will preach an entire sermon against the individual. Like you will find under the church, even Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, an entire sermon we dedicated about going after these people, which I thought to myself, like, aren't you supposed to be preaching the gospel? Like, is this the gospel or is this something else? Because it's like when you dedicate a 50 to 100 to 1 hour talking about somebody else, bro, you gossiping. You're not preaching. You're gossiping. You're not telling the truth. You're doing something completely different. There's so many beautiful messages in the Word of God that you can preach to people. You don't have to do this. That's like so many people are looking for hope and the grace of God and the love of God. You can actually magnify Scripture in so many different ways. But
And we're
instead,
not supposed to be gossiping about each other either.
no. Doesn't mean you can't expose anybody. Doesn't mean you can't call somebody's name. But when you have an entire sermon dedicated to one individual in politics, one person that you don't like, that tells me something's wrong with your thinking, man.
Yeah, it just honestly that.
Well, guys, it's been a good day.
It makes me sad to see that was the state about, you know.
That's happening.
Yeah.
That's happening. And again, like you said, it's not a reflection of the entire denomination, but it's good to keep in mind this is a common thing that's happening. He's not the only one. I found others too. It's pretty extreme. He's not the only one. I found others that are like just as bad or worse.
Glad to know I live rent free in your mind, Metastat.
All right. Could you please close it? Oh, I want to say a final thing. Guys, be very careful with ministers like this. And at the same time, don't let ministers like this cause you to throw away the baby with the bathwater. Read your Bible yourself, get to know Jesus for himself. But be aware there's teachings like this out there in the world. It's happening. It's not all over the place, but it's there. Read your Bible for yourself, build a relationship with Jesus Christ, and find a church where the truth of God is being preached. You want to look for a minister who is humble, who is gentle, who is loving, who preaches the truth, doesn't compromise his faith, and he lives by what he practices, by what he preaches, and then you find yourself a decent guy. There are some good ministers out there. All I'm simply saying is you want to avoid ministers like Stephen Anderson. They will drive you into radicalism and fanaticism. They will.
One last thing to add on to that real quick. I bet you during his sermon, I bet you not once he opens the Bible and reads from it.
Yeah.
How much would you make a bet on that?
I don't know. He probably does, but even when he reads the Bible, he's not interpreting it correctly.
I doubt it. Because if he did, then he would realize he was wrong.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously he's misquoting the Bible, so obviously he's not properly reading the Bible. Therefore, I highly doubt he's actually reading the Bible during his sermons.
That's crazy. Sad.
Hey, Erica.
All right, there. Well, could you please close us up with a word of prayer? Pray for men like this and the people who are listening.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We come before you today. We ask that you touch upon the hearts of those who would besmirch your name and take your word and twist it to their own desires and their own purposes and their own will that they would want to put out into the world and drag it through the mud, showing people the worst that it could possibly be. We know that is not what you ever intended it to be. We know that you only wanted to do good in the world. We know that you wanted what was best for us. And we know that you wanted to unite us all and bring us all together under your glory. And we know that's what you want for us. And we love that. And we thank you for that. And we ask that your message would touch his heart. And we ask that any others that are like him out there, that you send someone to touch his heart and their hearts, that they would stop talking like this and understand the true meaning of your message. We also come before you today of anybody in the chat today who has any ailments or any prayer requests that you see to their needs. Though we may not know them specifically by name, you do, Lord. You know everyone's heart, as you are all-knowing, omniscient, and ever-present. We ask we lay these burdens at your feet and pray that you take care of them. And we know that you will do this because you said so. And we thank you for that, Lord. And we bring to you Pastor James. We ask that you be with him, that he continues to do his work. And we ask that you give him the strength and the courage to carry on. Because in these days and these times, we know it can be tough and trying. And we lift him up. He is a good man. And we know that in this time, we need more like him, Lord. And for this, we thank you. And for all the blessings you are about to give, and for all those who are about to receive them, we thank you, Lord. And this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Wow. Praise the Lord, everyone. God bless you all. Thanks for hanging out with us this Wednesday, February 7th. We'll stay in touch. All right. Amen. Amen. We have a few amens coming in the comments. So, hey, look out. We got videos coming your way. Okay. Heart of the Matter, and as well as Luke and Liv, you're going to see these videos popping up. Okay. So look out for those.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much for praying for us, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thank you all for coming by. And like I said, don't forget to leave a like.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.